Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
Now the Cavaliers played the first game since the trade involving Darius Garland. He was dealt to the Clippers on the floor in Los Angeles last night. Donovan Mitchell, he was missing DJ. Didn't certainly play like it.
Mitchell pedals around a Tyson screen, gets picked up by Kobe Sanders on a switch. He crossed him over. Mitchell right around Lopez.
That Kersey Cavs, FanDuel Sports Network, Ohio. Good guys take it by plenty. 124-91. Mitchell, 29 points. Never trailed. They've won 7 of the last 8 games. Jalen Tyson added 17 points. Cavs have also now won 8 of the last 10 games on the road. In his Cavs debut last night, Dennis Schroeder had 11 points, along with 6 assists and 3 steals. Keon Ellis helped out with 6 points and 3 rebounds, 2 steals, both coming to the Cavs this week in a trade with Sacramento. Cavs did make it official on Wednesday. They picking up James Harden from the Clippers, give up Darius Garland and draft considerations. Harden, an 11-time All-Star, currently averaging 25 points a game this season. Harden expected to make his Cavs debut Saturday night in Sacramento. Reports of the Cavs trading Lonzo Ball to the Utah Jazz. Cavs also sending a pair of second-round picks to Utah as the Atlanta Hawks also part of the deal. Trade allows the Cavs to shed Ball's $10 million salary. Utah expected to waive Ball, thus making him a free agent. G League action last night. Cleveland Charge beating College Park 156-126. The Charge setting a franchise record for points scored in a game. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The Afternoon Drive.
I do think that in Andrew Berry starting the press conference, I thought Andrew Berry was really trying to let us all know.
He nerded it up big time.
Here are the 4 reasons, the 4 things we were looking for our next head coach. And how
he started talking about EQ and IQ and everything in between.
And this is where Todd excelled here, and here, and here. And it was like both he and Jimmy Haslam tried really hard to sell the fact that this was a we decision and not a Jimmy decision or not anybody specifically. And nobody believes you.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Tonight we're gonna take no prisoners.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
The Cavaliers score 47 points off turnovers and win this one going away. From the Cavaliers win big in LA by the final of 124-91.
Great competitive spirit. I mean, we were all over the place. You know, we had 2 days in between. You can see we had some rested legs, but I just loved our defensive activity, our defensive intensity. I think that was the difference in the game.
You know, it's just a testament to our group, man. It's been a long 2 days off, you know what I mean? And for us to have the mental ability to continue to go out there and do what we did was good to see. We lose a guy who's a brother. We were out there talking to him. I talked to him. We all came in here. We were talking. We're going to see him again after this. Like, that's still our brother. You know, this is just the business side of it, and it's tough. It's bigger than just basketball, right? Like, this is a brother, and I think for us to be able, for him to be able to watch us, for him to be able to come out there and talk to us and chop it up speaks to the connectivity we've had here.
That's a part I don't feel great about. I love we're getting James Harden. We made some tweaks and we're getting, trying to get better, but I have a soft spot in my heart for him and love him as a player, love him as a person. Hope I get to coach him again at some point.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Yeah, Michael and Fredo were brothers too. Audio courtesy of FanDuel. Cavaliers win last night. A receiving line for Darius Garland postgame. Good morning, Tone.
Morning. What's going on?
What'd you think of all that?
Well, what a whirlwind, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was. First of all, I was wondering which Cavs would even play because I didn't know about other deals that could be happening. There have been so many guys that
Bobby
have been rumored.
Sura was active last night.
Well, if you follow any of the newsmakers or just the rumors that get populate your social media feed, I mean, I was led to believe that Jared Allen could get traded, that Schroeder could get rerouted, and the fact that those guys played last night, I'm like, they would not have played if they were realistically to me, and I could be wrong, I feel like Jared Allen is on this team now. Like, I did, even though there were all these rumors yesterday.
I went with what you said about Dennis Schroeder, and then I did have I don't know nearly as many basketball people as you do, and I'm not going to even act like it. But there were a couple people going, he might end up playing for you guys. They need defense, and he's a defensive guy. And I went, okay, we'll see. But I wasn't going to get defiant with you because I think that you know more of the movers and shakers. So I wondered if you had sources that he would just be on the move. So I wasn't going to start a big fight with you. I did think it was interesting what you said when we were talking about this about a half hour ago. We were talking about other things a half hour ago that went with this and what Rich Paul had said and some other things. But then you just came out with it, and I got to ask. So there's a receiving line. They're hugging Darius Garland, and there was the Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland hug. And, there's been a lot said about Donovan maybe being a little annoyed that Darius isn't serious enough and all the other things. And what did you say about coworkers?
Well, I said,
what did you say?
Yeah, I said it's one thing to when somebody's a coworker and you're like, oh yeah, that's my friend, and it's like, well, do you ever actually go out? Do you hang out? Do you do anything other than outside of work, right? Because there's a lot of stuff with work, especially like
you started with, I couldn't imagine spending every day for a year or two with somebody and them not being.
And then if they're not your friend,
Right.
then you clearly have a bunch of problems with that individual.
That was my issue. I think you can spend a lot of time at work with people, not be friends, but also not be annoyed with them. I just think
annoyed with certain things they do. Because if nothing annoyed you about them, you would be friends. You'd be, if it made sense, if you were like near the same age, if you maybe lived on the same side of town, like if you tell a bunch of people, yeah, that's my friend, but you actually don't ever go out or hang out or whatever, then no, they're not really your friends. They're things that clearly
I'm
are
sorry.
preventing you from taking that to the next level.
I don't think that you are in. I actually don't think you're in the real world anymore. I think because you and I and Owen is on the far west side, so we don't get to go to as much stuff. But you and we're probably the last. Can I get a little inside baseball here with radio and stuff like that? How many radio show hosts hang out with each other anymore? That are co-hosts that host shows together. We probably are the last ones.
Yeah, that's
Who
not
hangs
like
out?
manufactured.
Yeah.
Like, it's a show thing, or it's a Cavs game that you're going to, or whatever.
Baskin and Phelps ain't hanging. Let's call it what it is. I'm sure they're friendly with each other, obviously, but Baskin and Phelps ain't hanging out. Do Nick and Jonathan hang out?
I don't think so.
Well, maybe there's a little rift there. Don't know. Jake Volnick's by himself. He hangs out
He
with
probably
himself.
wants to hang out with people, but there's nobody to hang
Well,
out
it's
with.
late. I'm up too early.
Oh, and every time I want to hang out, he's like, I'm doing this show.
Yeah.
Darn it.
I'm hanging out from 7 to 11 tonight, and he's got to do this show.
There are coworkers who hang out, but I don't like. I think there are friends here at the station and in the building, and then there's people who you're friendly with. I don't. There are very few people like, oh, here he comes, and there have been over the last 14 years of the Fan.
Very few.
Oh, there's not that many.
Owen, very few for Ken. I know Ken likes to call 1,000 people his friend.
Wait.
I also hear your inner dialogue on a
Don't
daily
do this.
basis.
Don't do
you
this.
could pick apart
Don't do
99% of the people that you work with.
Because, it's our judge to sit here and judge things and have observation. So I'm going to observe, okay? I'm going to observe. But
I just want to make sure I'm getting the same Ken that I actually work with in real life.
There are very few people that have walked in here and I'm going, oh, here he comes. Like, I'm not.
Owen, fact check?
How? Come on. You can't be serious.
I disagree.
That's ridiculous. That you just
might not
laughed
even
like
know.
Ted DiBiase.
You might not
That
even,
is ridiculous.
Maybe, see, this is the thing. I think built in with you and what makes you you is that you might not even know you're doing it.
You just call me a fake every single day. That's all you do.
Oh, well, I think.
All you do is just call me a fake every day. I'm not a phony.
It depends. Are the mics on or the mics off? I think it's a very different in some of your interpersonal communications.
So I'm not a nice person?
I think you can't.
I'm not even a nice person.
I think it's the I think it's
I've been trying to tell people that for years.
I think it's a dichotomy of men. I think we can harbor both of those at times conflicting realities. Absolutely. I think there's plenty of people that I could say a lot of good things about. And then, but if you get me in the right conversation, I'm like, yeah, that's true. I don't like this about that person too.
Oh.
It's just you call all those people friends.
Well, yeah, but
I'm like, if I told those people how you felt, they'd be like, oh, I guess Kenny's not really a friend of mine.
Wait a minute. That's not true.
What's not true?
Are you and I friends?
Mm-hmm.
Do you not?
Have you heard us get into a... If our mics were on...
That's the point.
If our mics were on and the cameras... Sometimes the cameras are on and the mics aren't on.
2 weeks ago, it was amazing.
And you see us get into our bare-knuckle brawl about something silly.
Oh, my God.
And then we hug it out 2 seconds later. I think there are people that could not come back from that.
Yes, that's true. But I think that's the entire point of it, is that there are definitely people who... Like, you have your little idiosyncrasies that I get annoyed with, and I certainly know that I have mine that you get annoyed with me. But there are we're not doing that. But you're still going to, like, help them out and pick them up.
You might as well. Top 3 idiosyncrasies that Ken gets annoyed with. Go ahead, Ken.
I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah,
and take it away,
No.
Kenny. Here you go, Ken.
They're numerous, so I can't really think of them right off the
top
top.
3, and then maybe we'll do a second 3.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
Your turn to do it, Ken.
I'm not doing it. I'm actually going to put the safety on and hold back.
Oh, that's no fun for you.
Wow. I'm going to put because we had a knockdown drag out 2 weeks ago, and I'm not having another one. Not yet, anyway. There will be a time. I'm going to wait until, can I say his name yet? I'm going to
wait another week.
Okay, well, I'm just going to wait until
Man.
he who not be named gets here, because I want him to see it, because I want him to be baptized in it and be like, hey, it's okay. This is what goes on at times.
So reinforcements have been
called. But that's the whole point
Go
of it.
ahead. Top 3 things you're going to warn that guy about when it gets here.
One is that
we did say day 1, moment 1, we're going to talk about grooming, personal grooming. Because
I've got a plan.
Yeah.
If you don't do that right off the rip, how do you approach it down the road? That's kind of a hard thing to do. Yeah. We've learned our lesson.
Well, now you're talking about, I'm going to be...
We've learned our lesson.
It's not about being mean. It's about being honest. And I think that people don't recognize the difference. And I think that that's why I really think that's why the Darius thing got drug out for so long, because people don't want to be honest.
Because he doesn't bathe?
No.
Oh.
But there is a tendency in radio... I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I've been doing it for almost 18 years now.
I didn't know deodorant was optional. I had no
I've been doing
idea.
it 18 years.
I didn't realize that until I got into radio.
And there are so many stinky people who work in the business, and they've been. The whole time, 18 years, there's always been someone like, "Good God, you got to be kidding!" And you want to do power rank things that used to annoy me about Andy Roth.
That this was never addressed.
Andy, maybe you want to talk to that person about. Well, why don't you just? You are his boss. I'm just an a-hole coworker. I can't do that. You are, and you know that person stinks.
Okay, there was.
Well, I can't address it. You need to address it. I go, I'm not paid to address it. You are. That's what you are as the manager of the station.
Now, at the time, very early on in this station's infancy, we did not have the full cluster of radio stations here. But I remember during middays, we would have to crack open the door during the show, which is something you just don't do in radio. There's a reason we have. What are the things called on the walls at most normal radio? What are they?
Baffles.
The baffle. Okay, the whole point is for the sound. There's an engineering of sound that transpires. So one thing you would never do is leave a door open. But we had to, because there was an individual that we don't think during the lifetime of the show had ever showered before he came in. And this wasn't a morning show. Not that it should make a difference. This was a midday show, so you've had ample time.
I know why, but now I know why you feel the way you feel about what I say. I share truths with you and Owen. And Keith is our boss, but I share truths with him because, we came into the station together, and I understand that one day he's going to sit across the table from me and let me go. But I've understood this, and I'm prepared for it someday. Hopefully not today, but we'll find out tomorrow. There are truths that I can share with you, but I can also say, this annoys me about so-and-so, but I'd still go pick him up if he I got a flat. All right, fine, I'll be over. That's what I'm saying. There are people.
You're also a good guy.
I am,
you should do
you
those
just
things.
made me out to be the biggest bastard in Cleveland for the last 10 minutes.
I think good guys can also be very opinionated.
Top 3 bastards
can
in
also
Cleveland.
Be bad boys.
They can be bad boys.
I'm the bad boy.
That's right.
What do you want to power rank?
Top 3 bastards in Cleveland.
Yeah. You're the first 2, Ken, so.
Big enough for the first 2. Me and me.
The duality of Ken.
Yeah. Well, I have said this before. The nicest people know the meanest things because you've held back the meanest things, and you also know mean things that are said. So if you're a really nice person, you also know how to be really mean if you want to be really mean. And sadly, there have been times where you and I have been really mean.
All of this
but
is
we are
to
mean
say,
to each other. That's the fun of it.
All of this is to say it was mixed emotions last night. You're playing Darius Garland. Did he do a press conference during the game?
No, that's only reserved for Trevor Bauer when he walks into the stadium after he gets traded.
It was somebody said he's got to get rid of all these cool jackets that he owns. He doesn't need them now that he's in LA. But it is a power move. It's a power move in LA to have nice accessories. Either way, it's mixed emotions. I mean, they played together, obviously, the last 3.5 years. This was supposed to be, I think when they made the Donovan Mitchell trade, they envisioned a world where Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell would be playing for championships together, would be playing in the NBA Finals together, and instead think of how different it is, the contrasting emotions it must have been, where they hugged it out last night as almost an official final goodbye. That's it. This never came together like we had envisioned. And so you just got to make the most of it. You got to make the best of it. And the Cavs obviously made a huge swing, a very controversial swing it is. I mean, I've seen all the comments that are out there last night. Meanwhile, Darius's old team is just kicking the living you-know-what. I know it wasn't the real Clippers team last night necessarily, and who knows where they go from here. I mean, they're 4 games below 500, and they're letting Jared Allen just run down right the middle of the floor and throwing down dunks. It had to be a lot of weird emotions last night.
And it's going to be, I tell you what, I'd like to follow up on Darius here over the next couple of years and see how this goes. Because, I think there has to be an adjustment. Like, you're in Los Angeles, it'll be a playground for you. You have a lot of money. You'll probably get paid a lot of money again. But, you are the second team in LA in a very, very, very large market. I mean, one of the biggest markets in the world. Let's call it what it is. There's major stars of stage and screen all over the place. I think you're like here, like Darius Garland walked down the street. Everybody knew who Darius Garland was.
Yeah.
Darius Garland showed up at a gas station. Everybody knew who Darius Garland was. Mm-hmm. And some people don't like that. I think he did. I think he likes being a star. And that's going to be a bit of an adjustment because you're not playing for the Lakers. You're playing for the Clippers. Yeah. And you're not even in the same building as them anymore. And they're not the sports town we are. So maybe he'll like the anonymity for a change of pace, but that might be a little bit of a change where
Darius
I think
can
he
actually
definitely like being a star.
Yeah, you can go walk and get coffee in some of those neighborhoods in LA, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares at all.
Here, that could not happen.
No.
If he goes to town hall, everybody's got their phones out for the next 2 hours.
Yeah. It'd be like that old Roger Miller song, but no, it's going to be an adjustment for him. We have some Rich Paul audio we want to play for you a little bit later on because there is a conversation about big swings. I think people are starting to adjust themselves to, hey, James Harden is going to come here, and we have now major. I think it was a hope. Now it's actually expectation of where you need to go, and that's the NBA Finals. I don't know about winning the NBA Finals. Tough teams you're playing, but it's an expectation, and I think there's a major difference. And speaking of things we say before the show, you hit it on the head. There's a major change between the expectation and the hope there is with a fan base. But you found an interview, and I want to play a clip when we come back because, of course, Todd's open to it. Again, common sense. I just don't want to go too far with it. Ken Carman, Tone Master General on The Fan.
experiences at top hospitals. Students receive specialized support, including tutoring, mentoring, and job placement assistance. Learn more at tri-c.edu/nursing.
Catch the latest Browns news all off-season long. Stream us on the Odyssey app and on your smart speaker by telling Alexa to play 92.3 The Fan.
$8:20 this morning, Mary Kay Cabot. Is the standoff finally going to end between the Cleveland Browns and Jim Schwartz? Or as so many call him, Jim Shorts. Will we have to ask for the Jim Shorts back from Jim Schwartz? That's at 8:20 this morning. I do think it's time to make a break, and boy, I've been pretty adamant about that over the next week. I'd be pretty... They bring him back. I'm not going to be a happy camper about it, I got to tell you. I think that something's going to really stink, especially after what Todd said. Todd Monken said back on Tuesday. Speaking of Todd Monken, speaking of the Monken man, he gave an interview. This is from where, Tone? This is Browns?
This is from the Cleveland Browns.
From the Browns. Okay, this is with Nathan. This is with Dragomir, Nathan Zagura. And the Monken man has a Monken plan for the QB room.
I'm excited to get started with the guys we have in the room now, and then looking to add to that possibly, because you said it. I mean, you've got to have a quarterback to give yourself a chance to win in this league. We know that. You also have to have good players around them to really get it going. So I'm excited about Shador, Deshaun, Dylan, and who else we might add to that in terms of competition to really have this offense take off.
That stuck out to you. Who else they might add to that, Tone?
Well, you're talking the specific individuals that we've been kind of talking about for...
Well, can I tell you what it means to me or how I feel about it? I want you to try to add to the room, or, excuse me, I want you to try to seek ways to make the position better. Nobody in that room has a clear path to being a franchise quarterback. I don't care what anybody wants to write in the YouTube chat. Nobody in that room has a clear path to being a franchise quarterback for this team. That said, I'd still, as I sit right now, and on February 5th, I'm still starting Shador week 1. But things change, and I would explore things. However, can I tell you something? I'm kind of in this mode where I just don't want you to be too aggressive. Because if you get too aggressive, let me explain this. If you get too aggressive, I feel you will have an investment in somebody that you can't get out from. And that will do another sunk cost fallacy. It's impossible to have an investment as strong as what you tried to make in Deshaun Watson. But I'm like, the Malik Willis, I think that's why I got mad at you at first. And I was like, well, $25 million a year is $25 million a year, whatever it is. Who the hell cares, right? But 20, 25, whatever. If they can swing it, go ahead and swing it. We'll see where it goes. But then that does come with, man, you're going to give him that whole year. We're going to see where he goes. But it's like, all right, if it's 1 year and things suck up the room, you can go right back to the drawing board. But, you trade for Mac Jones. And I said, Mac Jones is the conversation nobody wants to have that we are absolutely going to have many times over this offseason. You make an investment in Mac Jones, it's going to cost you picks because he's so cheap when it comes to money. And then it's going to cost you more.
because of the market, too.
It's going to cost you more because of the market and who you're getting him from. I'd feel a lot better if he played for a lot of other teams out west other than the San Francisco 49ers and our history with the 49ers' current leadership.
Well, and what was Jimmy Garoppolo after Shanahan?
Yes. And that will make you a little bit nervous about that, clearly. Now, I think that there's obviously a lot more tread on the tires with Mac Jones than what you would get with Jimmy Garoppolo, but we'll discuss Jimmy another day, hopefully maybe never. But if you go out and you get Mac Jones, like, you're going to get him and you're going to sign him. And then now I'm sitting here going, I don't know if I fully believe in you, and now I just don't. At some point, we got to stop wasting our time when we're going to have to make another investment in a first-round QB. It's what we're going to have to do. And my investment in my first-round QB is the highest possible investment I can make. That's why I'm like, no to Ty Simpson. He just doesn't have enough experience. I don't have nothing personal against the guy. There are a lot of crazy throws that you will see on social media that are going to be very good this coming off season. You're going to fall in love. I guarantee it. We're going to have fights about Ty Simpson. However, I don't think that he's worth that type of investment. I don't. And so I'd like to still kick the can down the road, but I also know that Todd Monken's a 60-year-old man. He does not have time to kick the can down the road. So they have to work together to see how much better that they can make the quarterback rooms here. So I'm in this. It's like, where do you stand for it, Kenny? Do you want them to get better in the room, or do you just want them to kind of goof off in the room until you're ready to make an investment here? Because I look at the quarterback class, and I know we said this about 2026, so maybe we'll say the same about next year. But you look at the 2027 quarterback class and go, okay, I feel it's still going to be deeper as of right now. I don't think you're going to be a good football team. I do think you're going to be in a position to take a guy in the top 5, top 10, and that maybe you could answer your prayers finally and not do stupid things like you've done in the past.
Yeah, well, obviously, though, that it's impossible.
It almost sounds like I'm advocating for punting on this season.
It's impossible to know today, but like if you were to ask me, hey, if you had the 6th pick in next year's draft, I think you might be getting like the 4th best quarterback. Like, I just think that's how that draft is going to play out. Very similar to
4th best quarterback. I mean, we talked about the 2018 class. People took me like taking shots at Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I think it's more of a shot at John Dorsey, but Baker Mayfield's still a good quarterback.
He was good.
He's just the 4th best quarterback out of that class right now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and the other name obviously is Malik Willis. I saw a bunch of chatter about Malik Willis yesterday, and what a bidding war there could be. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? He only started, I think, 1 game last year, but he just came in relief in another game, but he played lights out. I mean, he played unbelievably well.
And I don't think
they're talking about the development that has happened with him, but it's still going to be a guess.
Mm-hmm.
You're still projecting he's almost like a rookie quarterback. The way that you have to, if you are going to throw money at him. And I heard the afternoon show, they bring up Malik Willis, and they're like, okay, that could be another name in the quarterback competition. I'm like, there's no competition if you go get Malik Willis. He's starting.
If you're giving him that much money, even for 2 years, he's starting.
Even though it's way less money than starting quarterback money, but if it's $20 million a year or $25 million a year for a couple of years, he's starting. Unless he looks terrible. The minute you got him, he looks terrible.
There is the Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn example that people are going to go to. That's one example.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen often. That's why we keep going back to that example, because it's such a shocking thing where, well, you went and you got Matt Flynn, and now you're going to start this 3rd rounder. Like, Shador would have to be that great, or Gabriel or Watson. They would have to be that incredible, and Malik Willis would have to be that bad.
If they got Malik Willis, they're not drafting a quarterback. So you'd be doing it with the knowledge of your current quarterback room and saying, Deshaun Watson, he is so far removed from his good years and all these surgeries later. And Shador, while he had some nice throws last year, had some nice moments, it wasn't nearly enough to stand out to prevent us from going out and getting somebody who played in the thick of playoff games. That's basically what those were last year when Malik Willis came in. Hey, there were some moments I really liked out of Shador last year. None of those games rose to the level of high leverage situations.
This is weird because I don't want them to be that aggressive. I don't want them to be so aggressive that they are tethered to a quarterback for the next how many years? You have to really be in love with Mac Jones. We are going to have to bring in people who know Mac Jones very, very well and tell me, like when we had Brian Hoyer on and he was giving us everything he could about Joe Milton.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'd much rather, in terms of quarterbacks that started the last game of the season, I'm like, Malik Willis has touch. Joe Milton doesn't have much. I know he's got a rocket arm. I'd rather have Malik Willis if we're going to do this. Plus, I don't have to trade any picks for him. I need the picks. So I'd rather do that. Like, that's where I'm at with this. Mac Jones, I got to trade picks. And then because I've traded picks, I have to tell everybody that I'm going to, I guess you could try to franchise him if you wanted to and kind of kick the can down the road. But if you're giving up 2nd-round picks or something like that, it's like, that's a pretty big investment. You're going to invest in that guy. So this is where I'm at, is I don't trust any of these QBs right now. The two I'd probably trust the most are Mac Jones and Malik Willis. Crazy enough, considering the fight we had a couple of weeks ago. Those are probably the two I would trust the most. But am I willing to say, nope, not paying as close of attention to the 2027 class or even the 2028 class while this team tries to build and go forward? However, if you are one of the ones that are afraid of QBs, you go, Kenny, there's going to be good quarterbacks in 2028. You just don't know who they are yet. We need other positions. We can build with those positions. Let's see if this guy can do it.
And it's just a stupid thing and probably means nothing, but you can never totally ask guys to erase what they've seen firsthand. I laugh because Todd Monken was with the Baltimore Ravens when Malik Willis had his sensational game last year, late in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Monken was there, right? The last time we saw Deshaun Watson put together a good half of football, right? Wasn't that against the Ravens, and wasn't that against Monken?
Yeah.
And Todd Monken was there when Shedeur Sanders came in and just wasn't ready to play football. That wasn't even Shedeur's fault. That was probably the Browns' fault when he came in the second half after the Dylan Gabriel situation. So if you're just talking about like real firsthand experiences, Todd Monken has seen the best out of two quarterbacks live and in person, and he saw Shedeur, not play so well.
You are allowed to change your mind later on. I will grant you this, everybody. I got to grant it myself as well. Do you want them to go for the gusto here? Because that would be, and that's not very much gusto, but Mac Jones or Malik Willis or one of the other names that we talked about. Do you want them to go in for the gusto, or do you just want to wait it out? I'm towards waiting it out. I want Lima's answer in 5 minutes on the Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for
When a burst pipe hits, you need an elite defense line. Integrated Restoration, your local experts in burst pipe mitigation and water damage. We stop the flow and start the recovery immediately. IntegratedRestoration.us. IntegratedRestoration.us.
Sign up to be a part of the fan club. Download the free Odyssey app and follow 92.3 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 92.3thefan.com.
Cavs trade deadline is today, 3 p.m. Anything could happen. Giannis still up in the air. There was another trade yesterday involving Anthony Davis, and I'm going to give you some Galaxy brain stuff later on in this show. Because I think it's actually true. And I'm going to go headlong into this argument, and we'll see where it goes. Because I saw that go down yesterday. I went, I think that's worse. What is worse then? Well, we'll talk about that later on. Mary Kay Cabot going to join us at 8:20 this morning. So do you want to be aggressive this offseason, or do you want to lay back like I'm kind of thinking right now when it comes to the QB room? Because I think there's an argument for both, because I think a lot of people – I don't know how long the honeymoon phase tone is going to be for Todd Monken, but I think a lot of people are now starting to get into the honeymoon phase. You know, he's got a good personality. He's giving you answers instead of what it was last time, where it was just a deposition.
I don't mean to stop you in your tracks. I didn't think about it until that just came out of your mouth. I don't even know if you intended this. You said the honeymoon phase.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have hired a 30-year-old head coach or a 35-year-old coach, I actually think you could sit there and for a lot longer of the season go, all right, they're going to be a young team. They've got a young head coach.
Yep.
There's some wiggle room here. No expectations. I mean, that would stink for Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. But for everybody else, you're going to have a young offensive line, most likely. We'll see. You're going to have young receivers. Your quarterback is going to be young. And your head coach is going to be learning on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make mistakes. And I think we'd be more open to that. But when you start with a 60-year-old head coach, I wonder if that just in the back of their mind, people are like, we're not wasting time here. I do wonder if there's a difference of expectation. Of course, we're going to want them to win no matter who they have.
Yeah,
but if it was Nate Scheelhaus, wouldn't you be saying, well, he's young. He's going to learn all these things.
That's exactly what I said before they hired Todd Monken. It's like, hey, man, you take the Grant Udinski at 30 years old and you take Nate Scheelhaus at 35 years old. You can't just fire them after 1 year. Todd Monken, as good of a personality as he has, and I don't want to sit there and talk about firing the guy already.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
I'm trying to avoid turning him into David Culley.
Right.
Remember 2021 Houston Texans?
People forget him, but they remember that bad situation.
Mid-60s guy. Now, he was in the NFL a long time, but let's call it what it is. I mean, Todd Monken as an offensive coordinator and a former head coach, the high-level coaching was much more extensive.
A national championship OC.
Yes, with Todd Monken than it was with David Culley. No offense to that guy. I just use him as an example of this is an older coach, wasn't taken terribly seriously as a head coach before, maybe have gotten some sniffs. Now, you might be looking at a not so great situation. It's like, I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that with this guy. Let's see what he can do with what he has. We got a couple of nice reactions here. Social media reactions brought to you by who?
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Agatong 55. Can we have the talk that we should have more faith in the QB position, as my thing updated and went away? Can we have the talk that we should have more faith with the QB position with Monken compared to KS Stefanski? One has proven he can do it with several QB styles. The other one can only make it work with his style. I think that's a very good point. I can't fight it. That was one of the things that we talked about, and Kevin Stefanski could make it work with other styles. Maybe Kevin could still be here.
That has also led me to wonder, what is the style? Does anybody know what the style is going to be with Todd Monken this year? Because if you're telling me, well, we're just going to run the same stuff we ran with Lamar Jackson, no. I mean, that can't be. If you had Malik Willis, yes, Malik Willis can take off and run and look like a running back. Shador is not that.
Man,
Deshaun
we're talking
at this stage is not that.
We're talking about with Lamar, it's been Olympic track speed. He's gotten he's like the one guy who you go, man, that accuracy, that ball placement, it got so much better when he got to the NFL even. And I mean, we're talking about a Heisman Trophy winner, for crying out loud. Like, there were so many things that I think makes Lamar special that I just can't put other guys.
Well, Malik ran
like
a 4.3 something 40. He's built
fast.
He's built like a running back, and I've seen evidence of that. I'm just saying, Shador is not that. Shador did. I will say one of the things I really liked about the end of the year from Shador is he kind of took off and ran a few times, and I wondered if that was part of the development or clicked for him. Maybe some of the games slowed down for him. And I'm like, all right, that looks more like what you have to be in today's NFL. You see Drake May do that all the time. Drake May did that against the Browns. Like, oh, nothing's available. I'm going to take off and run, and he's a really good athlete.
It sounds like you want to be aggressive then.
Well,
it sounds like you really want to be aggressive.
I'm asking, what will the identity be? We knew with Stefanski, especially with Baker, and he was going to utilize, especially early on before the league kind of caught up, it was a lot of those bootlegs, and if it was shaving half off the field, but trying to simplify the decision-making, and then, heavy duty on the play-action stuff. And I think the league has kind of changed over the course of 6 years. I wonder, what will the offense look like? Because you don't have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson now. You have a running back a Judkins, very talented running back. He's not the same guy as Derrick Henry, obviously. And quarterback-wise, there just is not another Lamar Jackson. You're right.
No, there isn't. But if you're only giving a guy a 2-year contract of $50 million, you are getting a poor man's Lamar Jackson. And then you're trying to turn him into a comparable quarterback with Lamar Jackson. And Lamar was underdrafted, and maybe you're going to find out that Malik Willis was underdrafted. Again, the second chance guys have been showing these last couple of years that they might be worth giving a second chance to. But I think that when it comes to the Browns, I'm stuck in this place where, man, I've tried to give second chance guys before. Jake Delhomme, Jeff Garcia. I mean, that's a long history ago and almost a different NFL. I get it. But there's a long history there. And it's like, man, I'm tired of wasting time with it. I want to go back to it. I want to get back to business here. And maybe I got enough guys where I could figure out something here. But again, if you let Malik Willis go somewhere else and he has a good year, we're going to be right back here screaming at the Browns just because they're supposed to know more than we are. Well, I have to put my opinion out there right now. And I would want to say that the guys in 2027 are going to be more worth an investment than the guys that you could get up here in the next month and a half. So I'm telling you right now, I think I got to go in the direction of let's see what Todd can do with this QB room before we add anything more. Unless there's just a deal that I can't pass up. Knowing that I'm going to have this conversation about Mac Jones and Malik Willis next week and the week after, the week after that at some point.
There's no doubt. The path of least resistance and the easiest way forward is just hoping that Shedeur is really, 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 really good, right?
Yeah.
And that this offseason and reps and all that stuff, we're never going to talk about that again because it'll just be his team. That would work out. My God, that would be the best way forward because now you're not using up more assets. You're not wasting time with anybody else. That would be awesome. You just have to bank on Shedeur Sanders being really, really good and that everything that happened his rookie year was just the rookie nightmare season from hell.
I can't do – well, I don't think that it was all a season from hell. He had a couple of good outings, but it wasn't anything you would say, okay, now I'm just going to build everything around him and he's going to be our guy. You wouldn't do that. I don't want to bank on Shedeur Sanders because there's a lot of people. People are just going to the umpteenth level, 90 miles an hour each way. If I say, hey, I got my room here, I want to see what Shedeur Sanders, you really just want to build around Shedeur? I can't trust myself to build. I can't trust the organization to build around Shedeur. I can't trust Shedeur enough yet to build around Shedeur. But I also don't think that he needs to be kicked to the curb just because there's people in the media who are fighting with bots on the internet. I think that that's pretty stupid as well. But when I see what they have here, I'm just looking at the other positions and what they still need to build. You may need 4/5 of an offensive line. You still need wide receivers for this team. Hell, you still need another tight end that you got to bring in here, depending on what you do with David Njoku. And more than likely, you would say, yeah, let's just go young and let's move on from David Njoku. I mean, let's call this what it is. I mean, you have half a football team here, and the only way that I'm going to get building towards the rest of my football team is probably if I go young and go with better investments than I've already made. Because I have Shedeur, young, nice, doesn't cost you enough money. Dylan Gabriel, young, I think afraid to throw the football. We'll see what happens with him, but doesn't cost you enough money. Then I got the $46 million guy that nobody wants to see out there. And that's not the best situation for a QB room right now. And I don't think they're going to give up on at least two out of the three guys. And we'll see what happens with Dylan Gabriel during this offseason. But the first two guys, I don't think they're going to give up on. Is it worth it to go and give to Malik Willis? And it can't just be, well, I just don't want to see Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. That's not a football reason. And at least you think that these guys are both just terrible out loud, then fine. But I think a lot of people are having a lot of conversations that don't have anything to do with football about why they don't want to see either guy.
That's why we won't know this maybe until years later. I'd just love to know during the process, during the Zooms, during the all-day interviews, during the essays, during the what did he call it? His version of EQ.
Oh, man, we got to do those questions again.
Yes, the Hogan assessment test. What does he think about this quarterback room? What does he really think about this quarterback?
He's giving us a little bit of a look every time he gives an interview. 216-474-0092. Mary Kay going to join us at 8:20. The trade deadline is today at 3. Could the Cavs be making even more moves? Is Kobe Altman still out west with this team, trying to wheel and deal and make more moves? Well, there was one guy who's maybe the biggest player in the NBA, and I'm not talking on the floor, said you shouldn't have been surprised by any of this. And I think a lot of people are stuck with themselves on demanding action, demanding big swings, and then being afraid when they actually do it. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
and the diversity of the scheme and his ability to fit different players into the offense, and then I think it's his experience also working with different types of quarterbacks, the breadth of experience and, his ability to maximize guys. I think we're all sort of part of what they were looking for, when they brought him in.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Lima's annoyed with people who don't want to take big swings. That's coming up here in just a moment, I promise you. There's something else to Todd Monken. We played some audio of him, I think, during a promo just a little bit ago, and it kind of jogged my thoughts, and I go, I've always said my issue with the Browns, or my major concern is always with the Browns, is that I think they try to overcorrect past mistakes. I think they try to identify their mistakes in the past, and I think they try to overcorrect them. Going from Sashi Brown to John Dorsey, then back to David S. Like it's very yanking on each side of the aisle there. But when it comes to Todd Monken, it's like, well, I can see why a guy like that would speak to. Well, now we hear that Andrew Berry really liked him too. Whatever you want to believe. I think a guy like that who really speaks to that franchise is like, all right, he was here before. If anybody knows the type of mess that we can be, it's him. Because that was a messy year. 2019 was an out-and-out disaster, and Todd Monken has been very public about that. And if anybody knows the mistakes of what they can run into with this organization, wouldn't it be Todd Monken? So maybe that added to it's like, hey, Nate Scheelhaase, this is going to sound demeaning and nasty. I'm not trying to make it out to be, but does Nate Scheelhaase and Grant Udinski understand? I mean, Nate Scheelhaase went from college to a very good organization. Grant Udinski, that's been kind of up and down with Jacksonville, but right now they're good. It's still like, man, you're going to have to deal with some stuff here. And there's some history. It's a long history. There's not a lot of trust with the franchise. And a guy who's been here before, who has seen this blow up and has taken responsibility for this blowing up. He has not shied away from any responsibility that he had as offensive coordinator. Maybe that helps out a little bit more to the ownership.
I always wondered, though, when I saw him talking about what has been so appealing about this job, and I always want to know in these situations, did Todd Monken want this job because it was appealing or because it was one of 32 and 31 other teams weren't calling? Who was going to give him a head coaching job?
I have to imagine a little bit of both. Like, you don't want to go to a place that you just think you have zero chance to win whatsoever, but also you've never been a head coach in the NFL before you're 60 years old. It's probably now or never. So that plays with it a little bit. So, but that's just one thought I had with Todd Monken, where it would be an advantage to him. It's like, hey, man, you were here not too terribly long ago.
Well, he knows ownership.
Yeah, you've seen this before. I'm sure his brain was picked before during that 2019 season why it was going wrong.
All these prospective candidates and their agents, they know about the ownership here in Cleveland. And unfortunately, there's nothing me and you can do about it. There's nothing the fans can do about it. We know, and despite what guys like Rodney McLeod who've come through and said, Haslam was great, had great opportunities to talk to him, fostered a great workplace environment, exit interviews out the door, were very professional with him. He wants him to win. He's obviously going to spare no expense. So there's that side of it. But then we also know what the narrative is on ownership in Cleveland. And people around sports world think it's one of the worst. It's not our fault. There's nothing we can do about it. There's the mistakes that even Jimmy Haslam would fess up to. But given all of that, Todd Monken knows all about this situation. And he took the job.
Mary Kay Cab at 8:20 this morning. Are we in the final days of Jim Schwartz? It's probably time to move on, but I want to see if the Browns feel different. We'll ask Mary Kay about that at 8:20 this morning. You're talking about people maybe afraid to take big swings. Take it away.
So this has been one of the themes, I think, of sports talk radio, or just being a fan. Forget about sports talk radio. Just being a fan in general. At its very core, what do guys, in the most quintessential sense of sitting at the bar, having drinks, talking sports, what do they always do? Hey, can we get that guy? Could we get that guy? What could we trade for this guy? Would they take our guy for their guy if we throw in a bunch of this or that? Mm-hmm. It's one of the things everybody grew up doing that. Well, I'm 9 years old, fantasizing about players in the NBA or football. Like, could you do it? And for the longest time, there were just no trades like that in the NFL.
No.
Now, because guys are more aggressive, you've seen, and you have a shelf life as a GM in each sport. You only have so much time. There's only 3 ways to get players, right? There's free agency, there's trades, there's a draft. And in the NBA, especially, free agency doesn't work for certain markets. So you kind of have to overcompensate with the other 2 methods to try to assemble a team. With all that said, I've always heard this sentiment in sports talk radio from people who are hesitant. Oh, yeah, I want to get better, but I don't want to do it that way. Oh, I like that guy, but I'm not giving up this guy. And the Darius thing is so perfect in having this discussion because I think somebody tweeted out yesterday around the NBA that we've never seen a 10-year discrepancy in age in a one for one.
That's a
We've
hell of a
never
thing.
seen it, right?
Yes.
And James Harden has all this controversy, all this baggage. He's also a phenomenal all-time great basketball player. Darius Garland is someone who organically we've seen over the course of 6.5 years, right? This was his 7th year in the league. We have seen the ups, the downs, all-star in Cleveland, young all-star, someone who the Cavs took a chance on playing very few games in college. And so you see this ascent, and there's nothing better in sports than to watch a dude grow from infancy because that's your guy. You get the credit for drafting him. You get the credit for watching that development. But you also at some point have to come to a conclusion, like, where's his ceiling? Is he going to reach it? And so it brings us to a central question in sports. Do you take a big swing? When Colin Sexton got traded, there were a lot of people, Donovan Mitchell, by the way, for a guy that was considered a top 12 to 15 player in the league, and now I think he's even considered higher than that. I think after all this time, he's just considered a top 10 player. He was all-NBA first team last year. So that's where we're at. There's still people that were like, nah, would have rather watched Sexland develop, would rather watch Colin Sexton and Darius Garland develop organically. Would have never wanted to divide that up and put a finality to that group. And so it brings me to that central question in sports in general. We were bit by it with the Deshaun Watson deal, obviously. The LeBron doesn't even count. You do everything you can to get LeBron when you had the chance to get him.
I think there's a difference, though. I don't think that there's a blanket you can throw on everything. I mean, when you go back to the Deshaun Watson deal, I'm glad you brought it up. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was never a fan of the Deshaun Watson deal. You can go ahead and look. The only thing you could get me on is that Deshaun Watson had been a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield, but I did not think it was worth the investment that they made with Deshaun Watson. And you can go back to any bit of audio and you can go test us on all that. And the guy sitting across from me who loves to say that I'm wrong about this stuff knows it. But when it came to James Harden, I was never against it. I think it's a risk. Obviously, everything's a risk. I've never been against the James Harden thing. It was just because I knew, and I think a lot of Cavs fans knew, there's other things that I did not know about Darius Garland, which we'll play for you at 7:20 this morning, because Rich Paul says none of you should have been surprised about any of this. But when it comes to Darius, I thought we were stuck with him. I really did. I thought that this team was stuck. And hearing Owen say, I don't care, 82-0, I don't care, you got to prove it in the postseason. I go, I don't think they're going to prove it in the postseason. I just think they're stuck. And so I got someone who is a third-team All-NBA for a guy who wasn't any team NBA. And I know he's been an All-Star before, and I know a lot of people love him. I'm not trying to be nasty about it. I'm just trying to think about what's best for this team to go approach a championship.
You said
and James
risk.
Harden is.
That is the operative term.
I understand
Kenny,
that.
Risk assessment is what we're all doing when we talk about these potential trades. It's what front offices are doing. But you said risk.
I thought James was worth it and Deshaun wasn't.
Well, I've heard the afternoon show, especially Nick. They've gotten an awesome debate. It's been must listen. Honestly, It's been must listen.
Nick has been in his feelings the last couple days,
and
man.
I heard it yesterday for the first 30 minutes to the point where, I was even questioning, can Nick even root for the Cavs going forward because he put himself so far into one category in this, which I know he will. I'm just saying, just for the sake of argument.
I got to tell you, I thought he would too, and then I heard yesterday go, are you sure you're going to root for the Cavs this year?
Well, he consistently was like, it's not worth the risk. And I can only fire back and go, there is a huge, we don't calculate this as much, it's a huge risk in doing nothing. And that is where I don't think people understood, especially with the timelines of Donovan Mitchell, with Darius Garland up for a contract extension that is north of $60 million a year starting this offseason, that him and Rich Paul were going to start to get pretty loud about. Not to mention the factor of his toes, the great toes on both the left and the right feet now, and having specialty shoes.
Called big toes.
the risk of doing nothing. We never mention that. We only talk about the risk of losing a guy to go get another guy, especially older in this case, that has a well-chronicled playoff history.
I think there's examples of everything. And I would say that if you're a market like Cleveland, you have to go for it. You have to try. This is a different organization. You have one of the wealthiest owners in all the world who owns your basketball team. I don't know how long he's going to own, but it seems like it's going to be in the family for a while, right? So you have a guy who's willing to do it. Not a lot of places can say that. But I look at different situations. You're right. Like look at Hinkie. Sam Hinkie over in Philadelphia for years. It's like any idiot can tear a basketball team down and draft number 1 overall. That doesn't solve anything, like what you've said about the Browns at times. But then there's also like Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge for how many years? And then when Brad Stevens took over, they were hammered. All you guys do is collect these draft picks. That's all you guys care about are these first and second round draft picks. That's all you guys do. And then what have they built? They've built a championship level basketball team here.
And then they made they made some huge trades with Marcus Smart.
Exactly.
And then Porzingis, and they won a title.
I don't think that there is one blanket statement for any of it. I think it's a case-by-case basis. And when it came to the Cavs, I'm hearing about additions to a shoe for my guy who's not even a really physical guy in Darius Garland. And I got a more sturdy James Harden who, I know this is going to end really bad when it ends, but it does have a chance to be really good this summer. You had to weigh the good with the bad. I have a guy who I really don't want to give $65 million a year to. Let's call it what it is. And a guy that will get an extension who's going to be 36 that I'm not going to have to make part of my franchise forever because he'll get out of here. This will be the end. Like it's boom or bust now. And you can see it coming in the NBA, and we had to do what we had to do. And unless James Harden just decides to go not play for the Cavs, and it doesn't seem like he will, this is a fine move.
The one thing, I know we got to go, the one thing you can't do, and this is where I disagreed with Nick more than anything, Nick just kept saying, well, you can't win the title. And I'm like, man, if we operate like that, then I guess every team should just shut down and not try. Because Oklahoma City is going to be the favorite no matter what. And if they don't come out of the West, whoever comes out of the West is going to be the favorite in the finals. So what? You don't do anything, and then you risk Donovan being upset and wanting out. And I know that was a big conversation about whether Donovan is in that category of a guy who can do that. Not to mention the Darius stuff. And I think, again, we kept talking and obsessing about the risk of making a move, and what we didn't think enough about was the risk in not doing anything.
I told you this was coming up at 7:22, and it is. Rich Paul just said that Darius expected to be out this week all year. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
Before you consider call.
the deal. The trade allows the Cavs to shed Ball's $10 million salary. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
About last night, 7:43, Myles Garrett was on a big-time television show. I said 7:22 is when you're going to hear it. Here's Rich Paul saying, none of you should have been surprised.
This upcoming season, I sat Darius down, and I explained to him, I was like, this is going to be your last year on the Cavs. Very matter-of-factly, because I do things very black and white. I said, that's just the way it's going to be for a number of reasons that it take too long to get into, but that's just my foresight. And I also had the conversation with Kobe Altman, who runs the Cavs. And I said, Kobe, listen, this is what it's going to be. I understand it. The hopes is they go out and they play a great year and they try to contend and then anything short of a championship run, there has to be a change.
Because there's redundancy on the
yeah,
run. By the way, that
audio courtesy of the Game Over podcast. That was Rich Paul and Max Kellerman right there. A lot of people had a problem with that. Why do you think that they had a problem with that audio? On the internet last night it came out.
Were they jumping to the conclusion that Rich Paul had engineered this?
I think so.
Behind the scenes?
I think so. He's not the first one to say it. I think people had a problem with him doing that and then saying all this publicly.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. What do people think agents really do? Do they think they are just...
I saw Jerry Maguire many times.
Are they just bystanders that they just let the seasons play out and they don't communicate with the teams, always trying to come up with a way for more money for their client?
Yeah.
And quicker rather than later. And so this is why I keep bringing up the fact that there were a bunch of deadlines here. Part of it is this offseason where Darius is eligible for an extension. And I know Cavs fans would be like, well, he's not going to get paid $60 million because he's dealing with the injuries. That's how Rich Paul's thinking. Rich Paul and Darius Garland are thinking the first day that we have a chance to get extension, the guy that you drafted and have beloved and you've put on billboards for all these years, you're going to need to pay him. And then the Cavs say, well, hold on a second. Let's see how the season plays out. Well, Rich Paul is already, when he hears that, he's going back to his client and saying, hey, just be careful. This may not be a long-term thing. It's a business. This is how the NBA works. You've been here 6.5 years. That's a long time.
Can I use the Malik Willis, or I should say the Mac Jones argument a little bit, where I'm like, well, you're going to give up a second-round pick for him, and then you're going to pay him because you've given up a second-round pick. You've given up James Harden for him. Now you're going to pay him because you gave up James Harden for him, and he's a good young player. Does that compute to you at all? If that's the wrong example, hit me with it. That's fine. Maybe I wasn't making sense to you right there, but I'm just trying to think of an example. You traded for him. You're either going to pay him or he's going to hit the market. And he's still going to get that max of what you can get because it's the NBA and you can't find a whole lot of talent like that.
I also saw some people online that were like, oh, great. So Darius started off the season already with a foot out the door because of something like this. And I'm like, all right, there are guys.
Big toe out the door.
There you go. There are guys that do that. Certainly, there are guys that allow this stuff to start to create problems. Don't think that wasn't at the forefront when Baker Mayfield was trying to play through an injury, which changed the trajectory of his career. I mean, changed everything. Certainly.
Guys playing for contracts, we've known for a long time that could be a distraction.
Yeah, some guys do better than others. Some guys, there's like James Harden, total mercenary, who has shut it down in years past. He's also been lied to. He's been flat out lied to by Daryl Morey and an organization
that's what started this whole thing.
Hey, we're going to do a wink, wink, but when it's our opportunity to reward you, we're going to do it. And then they didn't. They completely lied to him. We know for a fact they did. So this can be a complicated thing that we don't talk about every day on the radio because we're not privy to these conversations. Rich Paul is in the position he's in as one of the most influential movers and shakers, not just in the NBA, but in sports and entertainment, because he's going to keep these conversations private until it helps him to let stuff be public. And there are times when agents do that too.
So you have no problem with him saying any of this and letting everybody see how the sausage is made?
No.
Because I think some people are saying it is, like, I got to tell you, I didn't have a problem with it just because you've known these things, you've told me these things, I've heard these things. I think the people who've listened for a long time our listeners who've been with it, they know these things, but it's still it is a little bit surprising to hear a guy be so open with it. Like, yeah, I told Darius before the season this is going to be his last year with the Cavs, and by the way, it sounds like when we hear that clip, it sounds like they had higher expectations for the Cavs this year than what.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm using them as an example than what Nick Wilson did or the people who hate the trade did. Like, they're like, hey, this is either going to a championship or this isn't going anywhere, and he might be gone. So I don't think Darius was caught by surprise. It's just, and frankly, Donovan wasn't caught by surprise, and probably none of the teammates were.
And well, you're right. It's the business of how this stuff works. I bet you they weren't. I'm sure there's always the surprise of, oh my God, I gotta move. I've gotta pack up, and now Darius doesn't have a big family with kids and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still hard nonetheless to just, like, you saw him yesterday walking into, what is it called? The Intuit.
I just call it the big wall center. They have got the big wall.
So he's looking around.
Intuit Dome?
That's what any of us would do. Any of us, I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I would do too. Like, I'm in this new arena now that he's played there before, but like, he's like looking up in the skies because it's a completely new situation. Everything changes for him.
The Kawhi Leonard carbon offset fieldhouse.
Well, by the way, it was nice to see Schroeder come from behind, steal that ball from James Harden last night.
You're going to be happy about him in the postseason, man, I'm telling you. Unless he gets traded by 3 o'clock today, then I'm going to take all that back. Go ahead.
But I think people are annoyed because they are not thinking about the business of this stuff every day, like obviously Rich Paul is. That's his career, that's his life, relationships, and communicating that stuff. And obviously, like Darius, like you saw Darius's comments yesterday in the press conference when they were asking, like, how much of a surprise was this to you? He's like, I knew. So you know.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't be surprised. I was surprised that it was for James Harden. I'll tell you that. Like, you didn't know any of that, but you'd heard these things before. There's another thing that I think people are a little bit upset by, and I think you might need to get yourself ready for it because I just think it's going to happen. I'll tell you what it is after I take Henry and Akron. 216-474-0092. Henry, you're next up on the Fan. Hello.
Hello, thanks for taking my call.
Glad to have you. Go ahead.
I do like the trade, but everybody knows James Harden doesn't play defense. We're going to have to be a defensive unit if we're going to win the finals, and that's what I'm concerned with, the Cavs and the defense. So that's the thing, and I'm glad they traded Alonzo Ball. Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, that's where I'm at with this trade.
So you don't like the trade, or you do like the trade?
I like the trade, but he doesn't play defense. That's what I'm telling you. He doesn't play defense.
Well, I think a lot of people knew that, so what else were you giving me, Henry?
Well,
then you must not like the trade. I mean, he's going to be a highly paid player. He's a big-time, big-name player. You must not like the trade if he's not going to play defense because you just said we're going to need defense in the postseason, so we haven't gotten any better.
Well, I like the trade.
Now he's back in, just like that. Sometimes you just have to wait.
Damn it, Henry. Yeah. There you go.
Out.
He likes the trade.
So after he mentioned Alonzo Ball stuff, so they are now $3.9 million away from getting out of that second apron hell, which is what it is because picks get frozen, can't aggregate salaries, and you just can't really wheel and deal the way you want to. You certainly can't make a Giannis trade, although I'm starting to think that's probably done. I mean, just the fact that I saw Jared Allen playing last night, I just don't think they would have allowed him to play in a game.
And my big issue is, and this is my biggest issue with the James Harden trade, of all things, is that you're not going to have a lot of a runway to get ready for the postseason.
Yeah.
I think some of the best trades that are made, some of the best deals that are made with free agents and everything, you make free agent deals in the offseason, but the best trades are in the offseason because it gives you time to get ready. You can make the best deal possible for both sides. You can calm down. You're not in this whirlwind. And you can keep your team decent or give your team a good path to the future, even if you lose a great player. And I think that's what Milwaukee's probably thinking about. I think for a guy like Giannis or whatever the Bucks do, you're going to be wanting to get that guy ready for the postseason or get that guy ready for an entire season so he can work with his team for the entire season, get ready for the postseason. That is my concern with this all working out when James Harden finally does play for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can I tell you another part to the Rich Paul audio? You're going to roll your eye.
Mm-hmm.
I think people just need to accept that LeBron James is going to be playing here next year.
Boy,
you can laugh all you want.
No,
but
it's starting to really seem like it, right?
Can you get that audio again? I know it's a little lengthy. There's one part here that you really need to pay attention to. Again, here's Rich Paul in the Game Over podcast. Go ahead.
This upcoming season, I sat Darius down and I explained to him, I was like, this is going to be your last year on the Cavs. Very matter-of-factly, because I do things very black and white. I said, that's just the way it's going to be for a number of reasons that it take too long to get into, but that's just my foresight. And I also had the conversation with Kobe Altman, who runs the Cavs. And I said, Kobe, listen, this is what it's going to be. I understand it. The hopes is they go out and they play a great year and they try to contend and then anything short of a championship run, there has to be a change.
Because there's redundancy on the
yeah,
By the way,
a host of reasons that'll take too long for me to get into. I mean, we're not stupid. You just get ready. Now, if you don't want them, that's a different conversation. But I don't think it's even a accept it. I think you just need to embrace it because I think that's where this is headed. February 5th, 2026. We'll see if I'm right this summer. You don't have any opinion on that?
I think it's looking more and more like a certainty. Yeah, I think the stuff getting leaked out about the Lakers, all the family business that was going on, and how much LeBron was in the forefront and now is taking a back seat because it's Luka's team. We wondered when the swan song was going to be. People thought he would retire this year, and clearly that is not happening. And then I saw him take off and dunk in the Brooklyn Nets game, and I'm like, oh yeah, he still can be when he's got it going on. He still can play like a top 20 player in the league.
Because I'll tell you this, I think that he wants to put together one more run. He doesn't just want to go on some retirement tour and wave to people and do rocking chair mid-court stuff. I mean, there's going to be a rocking chair at some point, I'm sure, next year. But this is the way I see it. I think that this is the beginning of things for him to come back to Cleveland, to play possibly alongside of James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, himself. I don't know how they're going to make it all work with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. That's another conversation we have to have. Does it include Giannis? I don't know if that's actually possible, so I'm not going to start just vomiting in the mouth on that sense. But I also think that article that came out almost a month ago from ESPN, I think Jeannie Buss pissed him off really bad. And I don't think that he takes things very personally. He's a businessman, and he does not want the Lakers, who he feels that he brought back to prominence.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think that he feels that he has been thanked well enough. Now, you could say, well, they drafted your son and this, that, and the other. Fine. But
guys like him are always going to want more.
That's how I think he feels.
He's used to getting what he wants. So, why wouldn't he think that way?
I'm not, because he's not going to go and play for New Orleans or something like that. Okay? He'll come back here. He'll play with this team. He'll try to make an actual run at this thing with Donovan and with James, and actually try to get something out of it and go off into the sunset, possibly a champion again. And he doesn't want Jeannie Buss or whoever owns, I know that there's other ownership involved, the Lakers to reap the rewards of his retirement tour. February 5th, 2026. I think that's what's laid out here right now.
Yeah, the question is just how cheaply will he do it? Because I've seen people say, well, he won't sign for anything under... Well,
I said that to you, but you gave me a great counterpoint.
There's just no
here.
way it would work. And plus, I talked about him being able to sell the rights to his final year, and it's going to be a huge documentary. And you thought the Michael Jordan Last Dance was a lot of content. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have filmed everything of LeBron's life since he was in 9th grade, and they got it all. And I've been told this. I mean, the archives, let's just say with the Cavs, they have been put in a separate place. So that stuff is all out there, and if you don't think LeBron James is going to profit off it one way or another, then you just don't understand LeBron. You just don't understand.
So we get like a Last Dance with the Cavs, but like all his history.
Oh, it's going to be 52 episodes over the course of an entire year. That's how much material they have.
There's no way I wouldn't watch. Is there any way you wouldn't watch any of that?
I'd probably miss a week here and there.
Well, 52 weeks seems to be a bit much. But if you did a 10-part series...
You might skip that decision episode.
Yeah.
You might want to go without. If he's on the team, if he's retiring a Cavalier, I have no problem going down memory lane.
Well, that's
if the Guardians were to win a World Series, I'll go back and I'll be fine with the Rajai Davis home run.
Will you go back
but they haven't won, so I don't like going back and watching that game.
Will you go back to when LeBron pretended to be a Guardians/Indians fan?
Well, you better get your jokes in now, because when he comes here this summer, guess what baseball games he's going to? So you might as well get it off your chest now, because you ain't going to say it this summer when he comes here.
How many first pitches can he throw out? He'll be at the captain's games.
He's coming back here.
Well, he'll definitely be at the Rubber Ducks games.
Yeah.
And I know that
there you go.
he and Dan Gilbert don't necessarily see eye to eye, and they don't trust each other, but he knows that these people are his fans. This is his home area, not his hometown, obviously, but his home area. He's going to go back where he's comfortable. He's going to do the retirement tour because he wants to be an owner, and he's going to do right by his brethren and the owners, and he is going to try to win a championship to take one more chance because he doesn't want to just go walking around out there on a losing basketball team. And so he's not going to end up anywhere else but Cleveland, and we just need to get ready for this. 216-474-0092. But we need to be more focused on the 2026 season, not 2026-2027. Coming up at 8:20, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. Myles Garrett went on TV last night. Did he say what you all think he's going to say? We'll find out in about last night in 5 minutes on The Fan.
It's Anthony Lima.
happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Oh, what a difference a year makes, Ken.
I have a problem with Tone that I'm going to bring up at 8 o'clock. I'm mad at him, and I'm going to tell you guys why, which I'm often mad at him, but there's a totally separate reason now that he just brought up that I sat there and listened to it, and I think you tried to be demeaning, and I'm going to tell you off coming up at 8. Go ahead, Meredith.
The day that ends in Y. Again, a difference a year makes, because this time last year we had Myles Garrett going to anyone on Radio Row that would talk to him demanding a trade. This year, the media that Myles Garrett is doing is the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. So we have a few clips here. He was talking about breaking the single season sack record, and it's a very long clip. I have it cut up into 3 chunks if we get to them all. So this is the first part where he was telling Fallon about his mindset going into the game. This is courtesy of the Tonight Show.
And what was the feeling like to take down Joe Burrow and secure the record there? You're going in what? You have 22 sacks?
22.
And you're going in, it's the last game of the season. Mm-hmm. If you don't get a sack, you don't break the record.
I don't break it this year. Yeah. We were going to break it regardless.
No. No, that's too positive. You're too positive. I'm more of a realist. Come on, dude. Wait, so if you don't do it, you're in second. You're on the list. But first is Michael Strahan.
And TJ.
And TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there was never a thought that I wasn't going to get it. There was never a couldn't. Come on.
So I got this impression, and I think it's very evident in the second clip that I want to play, that I don't know that Jimmy Fallon knew who Myles Garrett was before last night. That's kind of what this interview sounds like to me.
And rightfully so. I'm sure I've shared this before. What is it? What am I missing? I've never found him funny, ever. Not once, never how. Never.
I think Myles is funny.
No, Myles is funny, apparently. He's funnier than Jimmy. Compared to Jimmy Fallon, he's funnier.
He got a lot more laughs than Jimmy did.
I just don't get, because he's funnier. Because Jimmy Fallon isn't funny. They're sitting in the they're in the audience.
Jimmy's more of like
waiting for something to be funny.
Yeah, I never thought of him, even though he came up in stand-up, but it was always with the guitar. And that's just never
wasn't funny.
That's never been my thing. But he's more of an
Adam
entertainer.
Sandler did a guitar. He was funny.
It's like a master of ceremony.
When I was younger. What do you mean by that? Bob Hope was a master of ceremonies. He also told funny jokes.
Yeah, I think Bob Hope's like a master of ceremonies.
Bob Hope's been dead for years, but when he was alive, he was a master of ceremonies, and he was funny.
You would have him like master.
It's just ridiculous.
I want to play one more clip. And I want to get this clip on because it annoyed me. It annoyed me so much. So I'm going to play it.
You play it, because I'll just start ripping Jimmy Fallon again.
Again, another one, courtesy of the Tonight Show.
Not a master.
All right, how about this? After the first quarter, nothing happened. After the second quarter, nothing happened. Yeah.
Third quarter,
nothing happened. Then do you get nervous?
No.
I would be crying. I'd be like, come on, dudes. Let me get one sack. What's going on here?
They haven't been letting me get any all year, so I know. I had to go and take it.
Why, yeah. So you didn't get any, you didn't have any downs?
No.
Wow. And what does it feel like when you go, like, do you just know when you have the fast break or whatever it's called? What do you call it?
The get off? Good get off? Yeah.
A good get off?
Yeah. You have a good get off, and
it's like you see a hole or you see the timing of the snap?
Timing of the snap, looking at the ball. You get off and you can just your eyes flicker and you see the tackle and you're like, I'm already even with him. Oh, it's over.
And it's over.
It's over.
It's over. You know it's
like it's guaranteed.
He sounds like me trying to get through an interview with a rookie in the early parts of the season with the Browns. Oh, so what's your favorite color? Because I gotta open him up somehow. You're talking to Myles Garrett. The guy's done media. Clearly, he did media last year. These are the questions. You only have so much time. This is what you ask him. Great.
Well, the reason this clip annoyed me.
But he broke up on Saturday Night Live, so he's really funny.
One of the reasons why this clip annoyed me so much is that to me it felt like Fallon had a script in his head about how it was going to go. Like he was going to ask Myles if he was nervous, and Myles was going to be like, "Oh yeah, I was so nervous," and then they were going to play off of that. But he doesn't know Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett doesn't get nervous. We here in Cleveland know that. Anybody who watches football knows that about Myles Garrett, but it felt like Jimmy kept trying to get him to say that he was nervous. Oh, I'm so nervous.
He's not nervous.
Exactly, and he wasn't going to say it. So that's like, I feel like that's why that clip felt so awkward.
How many writers do they have?
Not any that know enough about football, clearly.
I'm just happy, honestly, I'm happy going back that he had the opportunity to go up against Burrow, who wasn't gutless, spineless, the way that Aaron Rodgers was. I lost so much respect for how Aaron Rodgers played that game.
Ooh, this is some
at the
strong
end of the
commentary.
Year.
What a position.
It was such a loser way to play football that you made the identity of the entire game avoiding the sack record. Like, I think he went in the tunnel after that loss and said, yes,
Did Aaron Rodgers
we won because I didn't get sacked.
Did Aaron Rodgers cost you Fernando Mendoza?
Yeah,
a lot of people in my mention saying you were cheering for the Browns to win. You cost us Fernando. No. Brett screwed Brett. I didn't cost you anything.
Why would you ever cheer for the Browns to lose anyway? That's just not something that you do.
You can have a whole Saturday show just by asking that question, Meredith.
Yeah, I know.
I've 100% cheered for them to lose before.
Okay.
If I was done with a coach, if I was done with a quarterback, absolutely I wanted them to lose because that would assure me or help assure me that those people were leaving.
You're a soulless pig.
So the Cavaliers made another move yesterday. Nowhere near as big as the Garland Harden trade, but they did get Lonzo Ball off the books. They had a 3-team trade with the Hawks and the Jazz. Lonzo is in Utah, but reportedly the plans are to waive his contract and make him a free agent. So that was your second Cavaliers move through this trade season. Off the books.
Are you going to miss Lonzo Ball?
I can't believe how bad he was. Like, even
he was good for like the first 5 games of the season.
Even in today's NBA, where guys you've never heard of can score 30 in a game, I'm trying to think what it would have taken for Lonzo Ball to drop 30 in a basketball game. And how many...
Everybody walking off the floor.
My lasting image of Lonzo will just be the heat check 29-foot three-pointers that he never made. And he kept shooting them. And Kenny Atkinson didn't seem to have a problem until he finally benched him. But he allowed it. He allowed it for because I think Kenny Atkinson's like eventually he's going to hit some of these. Nope, he didn't.
A lot of trust in his players. I think there was like a brief period of time towards the beginning of the season where Lonzo had a lot of value on the perimeter and he was really good at inbounding. And so in that moment, I'm watching this and saying, oh, hey, maybe this Lonzo Ball trade wasn't so bad. And then it was bad. It was bad.
Great.
So I saw this from Radio Row at the Super Bowl this week, and I wanted to bring this up.
Is this Ryan Leaf?
It is not Ryan Leaf.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm sorry.
We can do that one tomorrow. I have that in the can. We might be able to do that one tomorrow. But this one was Tony Dungy, because of course people are very upset still about the Bill Belichick thing, not being a first ballot Hall of Famer.
You get Tony Dungy in there. Who knows? That's coming in hot.
He's not coming in hot in this clip, but he was asked on Radio Row about his Hall of Fame vote.
Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, did you vote for them, and what was your reaction to them not getting inducted into the Hall of Fame?
First of all, we don't know that they didn't get inducted in the Hall of Fame. I'm a voter. I have not heard who's in or who's out, so I'm not going to make a comment on it and speculate. We'll find out, I think, on Thursday who's in and who's out.
Did you vote for them?
I said I'm not going to make a comment on it until we find out who's in and who's out.
That is so, it's sketchy. That is so, because here's the thing, because
Who is that asking the question?
It was a random beat reporter.
It is not a random beat reporter.
Was it? Oh, who's asking
it? It is somebody who I'm friendly with.
Oh, okay.
Friendly or friends? Like
friendly. No, not friends.
Like you hang out with them
Chicago.
at work.
Ryan Glass-Steagall.
Okay.
Oh, you said your name and names.
He has written about our show before.
Oh, then I'm not going to say anything bad.
Okay.
Never mind.
So you had Vahe Gregorian and Mike Chappell, who are two Hall of Fame voters, who explained why they didn't vote for Bill Belichick, and they were very open about it, and they were very like, hey, like it wasn't anything against them, didn't have anything to do with Deflategate or anything like that. But to have Tony Dungy be like, we don't talk about that.
I love how Tony
It's so hilarious. Like, why don't we talk about it?
The guy is 70 years old.
There's a reason why.
He has no problem talking politics around every turn, but this is where he refuses to go. This is the third rail for Tony Dungy. Grow up.
Let me tell you the reason why. Are you done? Okay. The reason why. Is he a voter? Yes. What the Pro Football Hall of Fame put out a very strong statement last week that I read on the emerging podcast scene about them going after people giving up their vote early before it's done because they take it so seriously. He ain't going to say anything because he takes it very seriously. So he isn't going to say anything, certainly not to me, you, Ryan Glass-Steagall, anybody. That's why he's being such a fuddy-duddy about it. It's easy.
It just feels insidious.
It's weird.
It feels insidious considering other voters had explained their positions.
If I were a Hall of Fame voter, and I never will be, and I'd love to be, because I take it deathly seriously, I wouldn't be telling you guys who I vote, and I wouldn't be telling, no offense to Ryan Glass-Steagall, I ain't telling you on Radio Row who I voted for, because I'm going to keep my vote. I'm taking it with me till the casket drops. Thank you very much, Meredith. That is About Last Night. Coming up in 5 minutes, 2 great rookies, but only one choice. Mary Kay, 8:20. Will Jim Schwartz be here by the end of the day? Ken Carman, it's Fat and Thin in the morning. Tone Master General, Fat and Thin in the morning on the Fan.
Anthony Lima, 4.
11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Catch Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin live on YouTube each and every weekday from 2 to 7 p.m.
Getting a lot of tweets about Jimmy Fallon. A lot of people agree with me. I cannot believe how many people agree with me. I'll say this. He, as much as I just ripped on Jimmy Fallon, audio courtesy NBC. I've never been a Jimmy Fallon fan, and I probably never will be. A million times better than the insufferable James Corden.
Wow.
A million times better. And part of that might be because everybody says we look alike. He probably got on the shot, so he's probably looks a lot thinner now. But a lot of people said we look alike.
If he keeps getting thrown out of world-class restaurants because of how he behaves towards the servers, he's probably going to lose weight.
And we also have the morning news on in here, and for years, everywhere in the morning news, it was always, he's singing in the car. Yeah, people sing in the car, man. I got it. You did that for 12 years. I didn't really...
The Paul
it was
McCartney
funny
one
the
was
first
good,
time.
but you're right.
It was okay the first time, and then after that, it was terrible. Now I'm going to rip you after you do this.
92.3 The Fan, looking for a winner. Enter the code word PUTT, P-U-T-T, at 923thefan.com before 9 a.m. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to, this makes sense now, PUTT. Yeah, the Cleveland Golf Show, February 13th through the 15th at the IX
Drive
Center.
for show, PUTT. P-U-T-T for dough.
Unbeatable deals on golf equipment and accessories. Get tickets at info clevelandgolfshow.com. It's all from the Cleveland Golf Show and Sports Radio 92.3 Fan.
Social media reactions brought to you by
Shivan Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Xavier P. going after you for quarterback stuff.
Oh, come on.
He says I hate number 4, and I won't say his name. I've said Deshaun Watson's names many times, and I don't hate Deshaun Watson. I don't want to play him. Don't want to play him. That's all there is to it. I didn't like dealing with it the first time around,
honestly.
And I don't want to deal with it the second time around. I don't hate any current Cleveland Brown at all.
I thought it was over with Watson until what I heard from Monken. And maybe it's just one
I'm glad
throwaway.
you heard from Monken because I'm about to come after you for that.
Maybe it's just one throwaway sentence, but him saying that we need to tap into his elite playing skills, like, whoa, okay, didn't expect that. I'll tell you what, nobody out the door. Nobody had been saying anything as they were tearing his signs down. That was the most positive thing I've heard about Deshaun Watson in that building in like 2.5 years.
There you go. Let me tell you this. If you just want to take a shot at me, just take a shot at me.
What do you mean?
I saw what you tweeted.
Yeah.
Just say it on the show if you have a problem.
What does that have to do with you?
No, I know.
I know you like to make a lot of things about you. What does this have to do about you?
Of course. I know you like to make a lot of things about Shador Sanders. What does that mean about Shador Sanders?
Good point.
Huh?
Touche.
Yeah. No, I saw what you tweeted. You wrote, there was the, so Cardiac Kid put the exclusive interview up with Todd Monken, and we grabbed audio from the exclusive interview with Nathan Zagura. And you quoted and said, seemed like the only takeaway most dumb fans have is about the cursing. Cool. But I absolutely love the breakdown on how different coaches coach their coaches. You can tell Monken pays attention to the value of communication. His breakdown of Kirby versus Harbaugh was awesome. Boy, you're so in it, man. You are so much better than everybody else.
Sometimes you got to let people know.
I can't believe I get so mad and yell at him when I should just be kissing his ass every single day. And I thought you and I were football guys. Clearly, I'm just an idiot because I looked at that he said the S word and he says the F-bombs every now. Just say it. So if you got a problem with me, just say it on the air. That's what this whole thing is about.
And this was true for a lot of Italians, my brethren on the east side that would watch The Sopranos.
Hey, paisanos!
And then on Monday, all they would want to talk about was, they didn't kill anybody. Why didn't they kill anybody? It's Sopranos, the monster. It's a monster movie. Where are the deaths? Where are the killings? They'd be like, well, there's actually a story there. There are themes there that they hit on this week that were very powerful. And people took away from this Todd Monken interview like, he swears, he curses. I love a guy that swears and curses. That's awesome. It's like, well, actually, listen and watch the interview. He had some real awesome coaching takeaways that you could apply in maybe your business or your coaching life. Owen and Ken, you guys are coaches.
And that's my problem. That's my problem.
You just got to swear and then think that's going to work with the kids?
I just told you before.
That's all I do.
And you see, this is where you don't listen and you're just too busy making your charts. And that's why the show is going to go into the toilet because all you do is make your stupid charts over there.
And I will make a chart to reflect it when it happens.
is you weren't paying attention what I said about the cussing. You just thought it was just Kenny being either dumb or pandering to dumb people is what you thought it was. That's what you thought it was?
What's worse?
A little bit of that.
Put the charts away and listen to me. I said there is a difference between quality and quantity. A well-placed cuss word can do something for you. It doesn't mean you turn cuss words into commas, okay? I know that sometimes you roll your eyes because when the mics are off, Owen and I, and every now and then it just turns into, well, then this bleeping guy and bleeping. I understand that. I get that.
I don't talk like that.
Yes, you do. The hell you don't, because I get the text about him. It's actually been years since that. But, yeah, we get the text about him. And I'm like, well, I can't say anything. I'm guilty as charged.
The worst on this is Jeff Phelps.
Of course.
I mean, my God.
But
you can't take him out in public.
There is an ownership of the language where if you're giving a speech, there's words that you throw in there that I just don't throw in for shock value. It's to accentuate a point. And if Todd Monken is accentuating a point and he uses words sparingly, it's going to make sense. That's what the point is. You mean you want to sit there and act like you're Mr. Cool Football guy over there? You're fine. You just join all the other podcasters out there and talk down to everybody, even though you don't know jack, you know what about football, and I got to teach you about it every morning.
I'm a willing learner. I listen to people that I respect.
Clearly, you don't respect me because you weren't paying attention when I said that earlier this week.
No, you know what it is? I think I'm just amazed that people graded the Monken hire just solely based on how he comes off in press conferences, just like, and they were about to do it.
You're going to do it
with Udizzi, Udinski, with these other guys where they're like, oh, I saw a 1-minute video. That'd be a good Browns coach, and it's like that has nothing to do with how a guy coaches.
Anthony, I don't think that they're thinking that. I think you're way too deep on that. I think that they got tired of. They got so tired of, we got to coach better. We got to do better. Yeah, Daryl, I respect the question. They got so tired of that, yeah, when a guy comes in and makes a very blue joke during a press conference about, I can't say it. He was getting changed.
I know what you're saying.
That's what I can say. I mean, people laugh at that. They're going to like that. Like, okay, the guy's not a cyborg. Because you've been, hey, we like Kevin, and you and I knew Kevin off the mics. But he came off like a robot. It was Kevin Tron 6000 coaching. And people didn't like that when they lost.
Yeah.
And this guy, and when it turned into the post-game press conference, and they would show the post-game speeches, and you knew it was just awkward. And
guys
you knew that
were
he's
rolling their eyes in the locker room, and then when we would call that out, people would get mad at us. It's a win. Why are you guys saying this?
Because it was true. Because it was true. Because you do this all the time. You can win football games, and if a guy says silly things that he doesn't mean, you can always see right through it. And I'm sorry, they could see through it. They saw through it. Well, when Todd Monken, when they go and they win against whoever week one, because I'll pick them to win because I'm me. He's gonna drop well-placed cuss words, and it's gonna work out well. Okay. Judas Priest.
I didn't even
get a chance to get into the rookie thing yet.
It's just
look what you've done to me.
It's just you got to be true to who you are, right? And I think Todd Monken is at this stage very secure enough. It's just that's not the reason he's going to be a good head coach. It has nothing to do with that. Bobby Knight swore a few times, Kenny, believe it or not. But players knew what they were going to get out of Bobby Knight. They might have been getting their necks strangled in the process.
There you go.
But they knew what they were getting out of him. It wasn't like Bobby Knight was masquerading as somebody else. And that was something we were worried about with Kevin. And Kevin's got to get better at that. Nobody cares anymore about Kevin. But if you're going
to be a head coach, you got to be a communicator.
Yeah, and
you
have
to communicate, man.
And it has to be you. It can't be 10 other voices. It can't be, well, today I'm a chameleon. I'm going to be the hard ass. And tomorrow, and that's what I loved. If you watch that video with Nathan, if you listen to that interview, he talks about the difference between Kirby Smart and John Harbaugh. How Kirby Smart would be out, light a fire under you. You're useless. And this is him coaching the coaches. Like, what did you, we've lost 3 games. They're because of you. Like, that's how Kirby was. And, if that's you, that's got to be you. Harbaugh, a little more passive-aggressive in how he went about it, but it worked for him, and it helps when you have a Super Bowl pedigree or whatever to back it up. That certainly helps, too. It's tough to come in like that from day one if you've accomplished nothing.
That's true.
I think Todd will have the respect of these guys that maybe Shieldhouse might not have, would have had to earn it, right?
Yeah. But I think you're right about that. I think there is I think you hit it right there. I don't think you can do this in other walks of life. I think there is a method to the madness. You know that Bill Walsh used to cuss out his assistant coaches right there in front of everybody, and it made the players feel responsible to the assistants because it's a job. It's not like it is in high school or anywhere else where you can't really do that as much. You feel more responsible to those guys. I'm just saying, when you get a guy who overuses it, you tend to tune it out. But if you get a guy like our head coach when I was in high school was a legend, and I know this is a much higher level. He said the F word 2 times. I remember both times he said it.
Damn.
Both times. Because when that came out, you knew this was real. It wasn't just, hey, it's hot, and I'm doing this by design because I got to get you from point A to point B before the season starts. When there was an actual word that was dropped, that was serious time. Even though it was always serious with that guy. Great guy. 216-474-0092. I'm throwing out the number even though I got Mary Kay coming up next. Hold off, if you will.
Yeah, don't call.
Yeah, don't call. Jim Schwartz going to join it. Or excuse me, Jim Schwartz. Will he be joining the Browns again? Mary Kay Cabot joins us to talk about that.
Well, let's get Jim Schwartz on.
At 8:21. Mary Kay Cabot in just over 5 minutes on the Fan. Northeast Factory Direct in North.
8-6. Another match coming up in about 20 minutes as the U.S. takes on Switzerland. Get all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All right, let's find out if Jim Shorts has to trade in his gym shorts. Let's get to Mary Kay Cabot. What? She's on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. Hello, Mary Kay.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing wonderful. Jim Schwartz coming back?
I see what you did there, Ken.
Thank you.
Very, very funny.
Thank you.
You know, it's not over yet. It's not completely over yet. So this is a situation where even when we talked to Jimmy Haslam the other day, he said this is ongoing. So I know that they've had their conversation. I was told that Jim was in the building on Monday. So they've had their talk, and they didn't reach apparently an agreement or a meeting of the minds during that session. But that doesn't mean that it's completely over yet. I think that they're going to try to give it a little bit more time, maybe another conversation or two, and see if they can't work something out. And I think in my mind, it's going to come down to, in the end, does Todd Monken really want to have Jim back if he really absolutely 100% doesn't want to be here? So I think that's one of the things that they're going to have to address.
So, did you want to say something there?
Do you think his exodus that day was greatly exaggerated? I mean, Mary Kay, the reports made it seem like he was, like it was one of those break rooms. What do they call them? Where they go on a tear, they take a baseball bat and they start flailing away. Like, was it that bad, Mary Kay?
It very well may have been exaggerated. And it doesn't seem to me like Jim would throw a tantrum and pitch a fit like that. He just doesn't seem like that kind of guy. He's professional. He's pretty even-keeled. I mean, he's passionate and he's emotional, but I don't know if he necessarily, stomped out of there and did all those kinds of things. I know he was upset. I definitely know he was upset about it. He really thought that he had a good chance of getting this job. And I think he probably thought that he had the job. He was very, very close to getting it. So naturally, you're going to be very upset about that. But when you think about it and you just kind of take more of a bird's eye view of the whole thing, it's really an opportunity for him to come back, coach one of the best defenses in the NFL, some of the best talent in the NFL, and maybe have another shot at the end of this season at more head coaching opportunities. There are usually a lot, and he did interview with the Ravens as well this year. So hopefully for everybody involved, including the players who absolutely love playing for him, hopefully he will come back and give it another whirl this season.
He's really going to come back after what Todd Monken said?
Well,
I wouldn't.
Stranger things have happened.
I wouldn't.
Look, last year at this time, Myles Garrett was all over Radio Row telling the entire world that he absolutely did not want to be here, that this was not about the money, and it seemed like an absolute not able to go home deal breaker for him. And that's what it seems like right now with Jim Schwartz, and maybe that's the way that it will work out. Maybe that's exactly how it will work out. But right now, the only two choices are retirement or coming back here and coaching the Cleveland Browns. And retirement doesn't necessarily get you where you want to be. Coming back and coaching the Cleveland Browns gets you probably $10 million, maybe more, over 2 years. And like I said before, an opportunity to go out and perhaps interview again after this season. Now, I understand what you're saying. That felt like deal breaker up there with what Todd was saying. But if you really think about what he said, he was saying, I took this job for the players. I think he's trying to say, if you don't want to be here, we will be okay. I mean, this is an alpha dog league. Remember that. I mean, these are people that bring big egos to the table, even when it doesn't seem necessarily like they have big egos. Everyone in this business, for the most part, got here because of one. And I do think that they can overcome that just the way that the Browns and Myles Garrett overcame what was seemingly an untenable situation last year.
All right, Mary Kay, I finished up last night the movie Conclave, and one of the big plots, obviously, the various cardinals all vying, some doing whatever they can behind the scenes to try to overcome and take the spot of the Supreme Pontiff. And so my question is that happening right now with the assistant coaches from Schwartz's staff? They were all there at the press conference. Are they jumping over each other to try to win this high spot in that defensive room?
No, I don't think so. I was told throughout the search that Ephraim Banda was someone who was in line to possibly become a defensive coordinator, and we know that he interviewed with the Cowboys and he interviewed with the Jets for those positions. So he was somebody that I think may have been a candidate for that role, but there are others that can do that. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Todd would want to bring someone in also from the outside in the event that Jim is not coming back. And again, I don't want to overstate that maybe he will come back, because right now it does not look like that is going to happen. But what I'm saying is there's a chance, and it's not 100% over yet. So I don't want to raise hopes too much because it's not a pretty situation at the moment. But I'm just saying that there is a world in which sometimes you can overcome certain things. And if enough players let Jim Schwartz know how important it is to them, like Miles and Denzel, that's kind of what happened with Miles last year. All these guys started getting to him and talking to him and saying, we need you here. And I think that played a big role in that. But as far as the assistants are concerned, they've got some good choices currently on the staff, guys that can handle the role. And then Todd can always decide to bring someone else in.
Mary Kay, I was watching the dinner scene in Son of a Woman, and it made me think of no, good God, what a wild question, Tone. Mary Kay Cabot joining us here on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. This quarterback room, Todd Monken said he's open to adding to it. Have you heard any names at all that they're definitely interested in? Can we put, we've bandied about names, Mary Kay. Is there anybody like, yep, they like this guy, and they're going to kick the tires on this guy in particular?
No, I have not heard any names per se. Those conversations and those talks and those, those little leaks will start to come out as we go through the combine and we go to the owners' meetings and things like that. But, I mean, I would definitely be looking at Malik Willis. He's somebody that I wrote about that the Browns should draft him when I went to the Senior Bowl in 2022. I have a column out there saying that they should draft and develop Malik Willis. I really liked what I saw. I talked to him one-on-one at that Senior Bowl. I talked to people about him, and I felt that he was one of those dual-threat quarterbacks that if you surround him with the right talent and take the time to develop him, that maybe you would be onto something. And I always think that taking a chance on a quarterback is worth it, especially in the first round. So he is somebody that I would definitely be taking a look at. And one of the reasons why is because we know Todd Monken prefers a dual threat quarterback. He's on record as saying that, and he's coming off of 3 years with Lamar Jackson. So he's somebody that if I were them, I would be seeing if I can't maybe work something through and bring him here. And then also, we know I asked Todd Monken in a media room session the other day about Deshaun Watson and how he feels about having a 3-time Pro Bowler in that room if he's healthy. And he admitted that he is intrigued by Deshaun Watson and what he might be able to bring to the table. So he's got some choices. He's got some options. He obviously has Shador and Dillon in the room. And but I think that, it's very interesting that both him and Andrew Berry, when I asked him about this the other day, that they are definitely open to bringing someone else in.
Is there anything to read into the fact, or was it just kind of timing, that Shador was in the locker room on Friday when Monken, came through the doors and the other quarterbacks were nowhere to be found? One, in fact, was in Italy vacationing. Anything to read into that?
No, I don't think so. I think that that was probably set up that way, and I think that they wanted it to happen that way. And Shador, we know, I mean, he's content. He brings a lot of eyes to the organization. He brings a lot of fans in. And so I think that was by design that happened. And once again, Deshaun Watson just so happened to be in Italy at the time. So I don't think that you can read too much into that. I don't think it necessarily means that he is slated to be the QB1 this year. Now that
DePodesta is gone, the name we haven't really even brought up or thought that much about recently, is there any giveaway or takeaway from what the organizational setup will be for the draft? And will Todd Monken be able to not only give his 2 cents, will he be able to pound the table at some point in the draft about certain players?
Yeah, I think he'll be able to pound the table about certain players, but I mean, by the time you get to draft day and draft weekend, you're not necessarily having to pound the table. All that work has been done already. So in the lead up, in the run up to the draft, he's going to play a very large role in evaluating the quarterbacks and deciding what the Cleveland Browns are going to do in terms of if they draft someone or if they trade for someone or if they sign one in free agency. So yes, he will have a role in that. And he's been around long enough. He's been a quarterback in college himself, and every single coaching job he's ever had has been on offense, and so except for 1 year when he was way back when he coached defensive backs. But for the most part, he is an offensive coach, and he can help in that evaluation, and they will let him have a say in who the quarterback is, and that's as it should be.
Some people took the press conference in different ways, so let me ask you, when it comes to Andrew Berry's job security, is the pressure on for this year? Could this be like the last year, and does he know that, or is this like, he's safe, let's see where this goes?
He's safe, and let's see where this goes. And once again, and I wrote this last week, and I know I took some heat for it, and that's okay because, I never care about taking heat for anything that I write. But Todd Monken was the strong number one choice of everybody on that search committee, including Andrew Berry. In fact, Andrew may have raised his hand first out of anybody and said, we need to interview Todd Monken. He was the first request that they made. He was at the top of the list throughout the whole entire thing. And Andrew did even express some dismay that people portrayed it as though he preferred Nate Scheelhaus and Jimmy preferred Todd Monken. That's not how it went. Andrew Berry has always liked sort of the combination of an older, wise coach, even someone maybe that people could consider to be even a little bit curmudgeon-y at times, but he's always liked that sort of tough, gruff, older coach, but one who brings a modern-day twist to that and embraces analytics. Jim Schwartz was like that too. So he really, really liked Todd Monken a lot from the start, and he's all in, and I do not think he's on the hot seat.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, that's a good one.
Lima actually, I think, had a Browns question. I'm sorry, but who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I haven't made my pick yet, but I think I'm going to go with the Seahawks right now.
Okay. It's fair. Go ahead, Tone.
Did you notice that Andrew Berry, in his press conference, a lot of time brought up how, well, it's not like we're going to be bringing in some older free agents, and then talked about how young the team most likely will be this year, and then even added on, unprovoked, said, young teams, they don't really win in this league at that level. Did that lead you to believe at all that maybe expectations should be in some ways muted this year?
Well, I think that they're sending the message loud and clear that, yes, this is a rebuild, and they are not shy about saying that now, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious. You can see a rebuild while it's going on. It started last year, and as I've said so many times before, they're adding the second big layer to the rebuild this year. There will be another big batch of very young players coming onto the team. But I don't think they're viewing it that way, because if you do get the right quarterback and the system that they're installing works pretty quickly with the defense that they already have in place, I don't think that you would be looking at this year as a 4 or 5 win season. I think that they have to aim much higher than that, and I think they will.
Mary Kay, we thank you very, very, very much for the time. All the very best to you and yours. We will talk to you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Mary Kay Cabot on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. Almost called her Mary Kay, like Cher. Like, that's it. This is unpopular to say. Very unpopular to say. Andrew Berry, I think, is on a game-to-game basis with the fans. I don't even know if he's on a game. I think fans just really want him fired for the most part. But
not a draft-to-draft.
Yeah, I think
basis?
that a lot of fans are thinking, okay, like this is the year. I don't believe the Browns can go into it. It's a different level with a general manager. You're really trying to believe a long-term belief pattern there with a guy. And as much as we have been very critical of his work over the last 6 years, more critical lately, obviously. But I can't go into this season thinking or hoping that he is in a 1 year by 1 year scenario. Because it's just, they're not going to be, I just don't think they're going to be that great this year. So if they're not going to be that great this year, then why didn't you pack the boxes in the first place? Like you're going to get a lot of stuff that you're going to hate hearing. Like there's going to be arguments about growth without the scoreboard. And that's terrible. That sounds like a giant fat excuse, and you are more than welcome to believe that way. God knows I felt that way more than once. But that's going to be part of the argument here. It's going to have to be more, okay, how did guys like Carson Schlesinger, guys like Harold Fannin Jr., how did these rookies play if you're going to keep him around? But I can't go into the season if I'm the Browns thinking, well, this might be it for Andrew Berry. We're going to have to think in different ways because if that's the way, then, yeah, you should have just let him go. And a lot of people probably would have supported that. You should have just let him go a month ago. Coming up at 9:20, I feel like my thunder was stolen by one of those Westwood 1 minutes, but I'm still going to say it. And, hey, if it's an alpha dog, by definition, there's only room for one alpha dog. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, that in 5 minutes on the Fan.
It's Anthony.
Google review rating. Whether it's for home or business, call today to get a free estimate for your plumbing and electrical needs, or visit TriCountyElectricService.com.
Don't trust anybody with your Cavs coverage unless they have sports in their name. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Coming up at 9 o'clock, are we giving the power to the wrong person? Are we hitching up our horses to the wrong wagon? I'm not talking about Browns there. I'm not talking about Todd Monken there. I know there have been a lot of horse talk. Oh, and you missed one of the greatest conclave conversations ever with Mary Kay. He mentioned Conclave, the movie.
Watched it last night.
How short is too short before you can give it away, give the ending away? When was the movie made?
A couple years ago?
2024.
Oh, you got to wait. Okay, I'll still wait.
Not giving the ending away.
I was a little disappointed this morning because this started this morning before the show.
Really disappointed.
The king of no small talk walked in and made small talk right away about his Conclave movie.
It ended up being huge talk the way that it progressed because of what he told us, which I was shocked.
That's only because he wanted it to be.
Anyway, speaking of alpha dogs, you can only have one, guys. Mary Kay mentions alpha dogs. By definition, you can only have one.
Coming back and coaching the Cleveland Browns gets you probably $10 million, maybe more, over 2 years. And like I said before, an opportunity to go out and perhaps interview again after this season. Now, I understand what you're saying. That felt like deal breaker up there with what Todd was saying. But if you really think about what he said, he was saying, I took this job for the players. I think he's trying to say, if you don't want to be here, we will be okay. I mean, this is an alpha dog league. Remember that. I mean, these are people that bring big egos to the table, even when it doesn't seem necessarily like they have big egos. Everyone in this business, for the most part, got here because of one. And I do think that they can overcome that just the way that the Browns and Myles Garrett overcame what was seemingly an untenable situation last year.
No, they can't. I totally disagree. I'm sorry. Now, I know you guys want me to bicker with her. I'm not going to bicker with Mary Kay Cabot. She is a Hall of Fame journalist, and I'm going to take her for her word for it. I'll discuss it later, okay? And I'm sure she's listening, so she can text or she can call back in now, but I'm not going to bog it down with an argument. That's for Daryl tomorrow morning with us. There can only be one alpha dog. You can't believe. I'm not going to believe that because it's the same thing I say when people go, oh, let's get this wide receiver. We'll figure him out. Yeah, Brandon Ayuk, he's been a problem for the 49ers. Let's bring him in. We're going to be the team to fix that. Remember Deontay Johnson, remember that in training camp? Yeah, the Browns are going to get Deontay Johnson all squared away. We're going to be just fine. Kenny Britt came here. What a smashing success Kenny Britt was. That's just players. Now, those guys ain't as good. Brandon Ayuk's pretty good, or has been pretty good in his past. Jim Schwartz is a great coach. I'm not denying that he's a great coach. After what? I did not know that he went back in and talked to him on Monday, Jim Schwartz did. But you took all the stuff down from your office, the things that we have been texted and called with over these last few days about how he does not intend to come back. Okay, that says one thing. And then I hear what Todd Monken says. I mean, this is public. I wasn't chipping Jim Schwartz. I was chipping Myles Garrett. Basically, it's like, I don't need you. I got the players. Guys, you took it one way. You think Jim Schwartz, Mary Kay just said things about ego. Jim Schwartz didn't take it another way? Like, come on. This is becoming a charade. If he comes back, I'm not going to hope it goes poorly just to be right, but guys, you already know it's going to be in the back of my head and it's going to be in the back of your guys' head. I won't say a word. I promise you. We'll discuss it if he officially does come back, but I promise you, from me to you guys, from me to you, Cleveland, if he comes back, I won't say a word about it during the season. I'll let you guys do it. I'll let you. How many wins do you think this team's going to have? Lima?
I said
4 to 6. You said 5 or 6. Owen said 4 to 6. I said 4 to 6. Meredith said 4 to 6. Why would they only have 4 to 6 wins? Offense. Jim Schwartz coaches defense. Yeah, okay. Nothing's going to be said. We've tried to do this before. This is not the place where things just work out and become all hunky-dory.
Yeah, I just wonder
it's an alpha dog league. That means there's one alpha dog. That alpha dog is Todd Monken. You cannot have two.
I just wonder what it must be like. Like, we've all been in a situation before where we haven't got a job that we really wanted, but we're not at the end of our careers. And I know Jim Schwartz, he could coach defense for another 10 years. Who knows? But this could be it. This might be the last chance Jim Schwartz ever has to get a head coaching job in the NFL. It could have been that for Todd Monken as well. I mean, you think about if Todd Monken, you could tell how emotional he was when he found out he got the job for good reason. He didn't think he'd ever really be a head coach again. He had obviously started to chart that path by going back to the NFL from winning national championships at Georgia. Jim Schwartz probably thought, there's part of him that thought this was it. If I don't get this in the building that I work in, the building that I'm respected in, the building that has me once again being talked about as one of the elite defensive coordinators in all of football. And, oh, by the way, the owner that has consulted or had me consult with him over the last few years about, hey, how might this look in a different way? Why are we losing so much? I mean, he's been involved in those conversations. I don't think I'm breaking news there.
Yeah.
So he probably thought in that moment, my God, if I don't get this job, I'm never getting a job again. That had to be hard.
And I understand that, but I also understand that that's the reason why you have to move on. When if he did not react that way, I wouldn't be saying any of this. But he reacted that way. Tom Pelissero had that. He did that very, very purposefully. And I don't think it was a reason. And if it was for a reason to just get money, I don't know if coaches do that because they're not the ones in charge. Miles can do things like that, and you can be appalled even if you really want to. Miles can do things like that, and he can still do it because he's still in charge of his own destiny as a player. He knows exactly what he's getting paid for. He knows exactly why he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Sacks. I don't care about we do this all the time. Run, stop, and things like that. That's the type of thing that TJ Watt fans try to say and all that other silly crap. You guys know damn well what gets guys into the Hall of Fame. They don't pay guys that much money to stop the run. If he was only good at stopping the run, you guys call him a giant bust, and you know him right. So he's in charge of what his destiny is. That's why Miles can say those things and do those things. Jim Schwartz, in the grand scheme of things, is a motivator, an idea man, and a coach. And Todd Monken said that in the press conference. Todd Monken didn't need to say any of that. He could have done the Kevin Stefanski thing, and ain't no one would have blamed him. He said what he said. What he said was a very public message. I have the players. I need them. I don't need you. And, hey, maybe Jim Schwartz is the guy that they'll play for, and they'll just walk around on the field. All right, well, then they're just out there embarrassing themselves. You can't just play for one guy and that's it, or you look like a complete fraud. So we got to move on because I don't trust that situation at all. And I swear to you guys, I won't say a word during the season until you do. I'll wait for you guys to do it because they'll start losing some games and the offense will be rough, Tone. I hope you can talk me out of it. The offense will be rough. They'll start losing games. We'll hear some people who are a little bit upset. We'll see some guys rolling their eyes and getting a little bit upset about this stuff if Jim Schwartz were to come back. They might do it anyway, but that will be the primary reason a lot of fans are looking at it. I guarantee it. But I swear to you, I won't say a word about it. I'll wait until you guys do. And I'll even wait until like the fifth person says it or whatever. I ain't going to do it off the top. I promise you that. Because you agree with me. That's why you're just shaking your head. Like, should I be louder about this? Should I be? People give us way too much credit and say that we are somehow the Rasputins of the Cleveland Browns and we're the reason they do their certain things. Should I be then speaking to the ownership through this radio show and go, you can't do this to your organization because this is going to be bad? Should I be doing that? Should I be louder about this?
Well, I just don't want, like, if you would have told me at the end of the year that, you know, we're gonna replace Kevin Stefanski with a 60-year-old head coach, and then we're gonna lose Jim Schwartz, I'll admit, I'll be a little alarmed.
I am a little bit alarmed. I don't know exactly how this is going to work out because I hate to do a terrible pun here considering how we found out that he was going to get the job, but I'm going to do it. You got plenty of players on offense or on defense. I don't think you have the horses on offense. So you're starting from behind. And if you got that guy back who thought he was supposed to be the head coach and lead this entire team, there's only room for one big dog on the porch. And you can't have two. And if you have two and things start to go poorly, Okay, it's going to be even more dramatic than we ever thought it's going to be. And I'm sure you'll blame radio show hosts, but it ain't going to be my fault. They put it right on themselves. Speaking of alpha dogs, are the Cavs giving all their power to the wrong dog? It's coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. Daisy Dips.
for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
There's Cavs and there's NBA news that happens while you at work. Baskin and Phelps, weekday mornings starting at 10.
Heard from Darius last night. Heard from Donovan last night.
Heard from Rich Paul.
Heard from Rich Paul. Dennis Schroeder played last night. He looked good. All those things look good. Cavaliers won. Does the wrong guy have the power, though? That coming up in moments. Tone, you have a Connie.
Here it comes.
I got me saying it.
A pair of tickets to Post Malone presents Big Ass Stadium Tour with Jelly Roll and Carter Faith on Thursday, June 25th. I'm excited. Jelly Roll says in the coming weeks, he will not be silenced any longer. He will be saying things. Anyway, that's at Huntington Bank Field. Enter the word bottle, B-O-T-T-L-E, at the end of this hour, 923thefan.com to get registered to win, courtesy of Live Nation. Tickets on sale Tuesday, February 10th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. A domination from our wine and gold last night.
Yeah, it was. I'm debating on whether or not I want to comment. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that. Let's just move on. Let's move on. Go ahead.
How about Dennis Schroeder seamlessly fitting in, making defensive plays? There was a unbelievable sequence that made the rounds on social media where he missed a layup. Kawhi Leonard had it, and then he, very wily veteran-like, poked the ball out from behind. Immediately, it winds up in the hands of Keon Ellis, your new Cavalier.
He knows what he's doing, man.
The three.
He knows what he's doing.
And the Cavaliers, they rolled last night.
Dennis Schroeder's a wily vet. He's a wily vet. No, let's go. Come on, get down to the power. Get down to the power of all this.
So I listened to Afternoon yesterday.
Yes, you were.
And a great debate, a vicious debate between
whole first hour
between Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin. And I thought it was interesting because Nick kept coming back to, why does the 6'2 combo guard have all this power? Because basically, anybody who's reporting on this around the NBA is saying Cavs don't do this deal unless they get total approval and a sign-off from Donovan Mitchell, who now we're starting to hear more and more about his contract situation. And what is his timeline? And when do we have to start to concern ourselves with the things that we were always concerned when it came to LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, superstars in an NBA city, and when their contract is up and when it's time to talk about a new contract and to try to get them to stay. So that came up, and Nick cannot believe that in this day and age in the NBA, you would ever give that kind of power to a, quote, 6'2 combo guard because they don't win championships as the best player.
Well, wasn't Donovan first-team All-NBA last year?
Yes, he was.
Well, if he's first-team that's a hell of an accomplishment. First-team All-NBA is a hell of an accomplishment. Why wouldn't you? So, I'm asking, why wouldn't you? Is there a reason why you wouldn't? I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be cute here.
I think he came back to it's not LeBron. LeBron, you do that with the 6'2 combo guard.
Well, who's LeBron?
Who has not proven he can get past the second round. You don't give him that power.
Well, they don't do it for LeBron very much anymore, not according to the Lakers. But who else? Who else is LeBron? They do it all the time.
Giannis was certainly somebody.
I don't have Giannis on my team. Mm-hmm. He wasn't available when they could make a trade. Mm-hmm. So the guy I have right now, I almost said, hey, my guy. The guy I have right now, he is a 6'2 combo guard, but he's still one of the best in the league. Is he a top 10 player in the league, would you think?
Donovan?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, this year.
Okay, so if he's a top 10 player in the league, if I'm not going to give him power, who am I going to give power to? Who am I realistically going to give the power to? This might not be a long conversation, but I really need to know, are there other people who aren't comfortable with giving Donovan that power? Because you gave up 3 first-round picks for the guy. You're not going to give him that power?
Look, there have been legitimate questions, even in this build, whether or not the Cavs could truly contend for championships with Donovan as your best player. And then it became, then Evan Mobley needs to become the best player. Well, clearly that's not happening this year. So you have to plan accordingly, and you have to either pivot off your plans, and clearly the Cavs have, because in starting to realize what this team is, and Jason Lloyd and Joe Varden got together and wrote a pretty telling piece where they said there was a team meeting where the Cavaliers brass said, no more excuses about injuries. And I thought that was very interesting in terms of setting a tone that, okay, you had injuries last year in the playoffs, and those were certainly part of the story, but no more. We're not going to talk about those anymore. Well, they just jettisoned one of the guys that is perpetually hurt and not been able to play come playoff time at his highest level. So they went and got a guy who, yes, has struggled at times in the playoffs in some critical moments, but is available, who does not use injuries as an excuse. So I thought that was already one pretty big pivot for the team. But as far as the NBA, like, I almost wonder, are we talking too much about power, no power, or are we talking about the fact that the Cavs, whether or not they consulted with Donovan Mitchell or not, they realized they were up against it. They have to make decisions knowing that Donovan Mitchell and his time in Cleveland is at some point going to have an expiration. When you traded for Donovan Mitchell, did Cavs fans assume we would have him for 10 years?
No.
Who in sports do you get for a decade anyway? Who are the guys? How many players do you truly get?
Jose Ramirez, and that's the reason we love him.
Had to happen.
That's the reason we love him, exactly.
Like, in sports, we only had LeBron the first time for 7 years. We just had Darius for 6.5.
Yeah.
This is year 4 for Donovan. So Donovan was always going to have an expiration. And listen, the Cavs admitted, they've already had to admit with this move of Darius, they've already had to pivot off their plan, which teams do. Smart teams have to do it too, not just teams that made mistakes. Smart teams have to realize, okay, well, Jalen Tyson is a revelation. By the way, another 3-for-3 performance from 3 last night. Guy's incredibly shooting like 47% from three-point range on a decent volume. So when I say revelation, that's been key. So they have to factor that in. They have to factor in that Evan Mobley is not as polished offensively as they were hoping that he would be in year 5. They have to recognize that, Donovan needs help. And so Darius Garland is not enough help.
I'm playing catch-up here. Are there any listeners that agree with Nick 216-474-0092? I did not hear the audio. I didn't hear the first hour yesterday. I heard some of their show, but I didn't hear that. So I'm kind of playing catch-up here. I did not hear this, and so I'm a little bit. I'm hearing it secondhand from you, and I'm a little bit confused because I think that top-level NBA players, and I think that this is a bit of a shift now. Top-level NBA players are the most powerful in the big professional sports that we pay attention to.
Even more than, like, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow apparently doesn't have enough power.
I think even more because there's more guys that you would trust giving power to in the NBA. As a fan, you would trust giving power to in the NBA than there are in the NFL. I think there's about... Would you give power to Josh Allen?
Yes.
Okay, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes.
He'd have a seat at the table in the hiring of the coach.
Joe Burrow did have power. Because they don't keep T. Higgins.
Yeah,
and
but I'm
everything.
saying, you don't think Joe Burrow's been like, go get some better defensive players?
Yeah, but I got to pay you, and I got to get T. Higgins. That's why I've been kind of like, people keep saying, well, you got to do right by Joe Burrow. It's like, they kind of did right by Joe Burrow. They just didn't pick good players afterwards. That's their fault. But, okay, that's 3. Who am I missing? I got to be missing 1 or 2, right? Quarterbacks that we're giving power to? Seriously, do the exercise. But in the NBA, you can name 5 guys, 6 guys right off the top of your head. You're like, yeah, you know what? Even begrudgingly, I have to give this guy power because of what we gave up for him.
There's no franchise.
Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander could pound the table right now and say, do as I command.
Yeah, of course he could. There's no, and Wemby in San Antonio can do it.
Yes, absolutely.
There is no franchise
Cooper
tag
Flag,
in the NFL, in the NBA. So because of that, contracts eventually have an end date, and then your entire your global view of a team situation is going to be impacted by that. And the Cavs were able to get the extension from Donovan the first time. But we can't deny that we are 3.5 years into this, and the team is not as far along as we were all hoping. And the Darius-Donovan tandem is nowhere near as productive as we thought it would be when it matters the most. And so they're pivoting.
Well,
and so we can talk about whether Donovan Mitchell should get a say on that or not. But why wouldn't you give him a say? Because you're going to lose him. I can't stress that enough. Like, he can play nice behind the scenes. He can talk about how much he loves Cleveland. And I believe all that. And guess what happens in a year or after this offseason if we're sitting here with another first or second round playoff exit and Donovan Mitchell is starting to see as he's getting into his 30s, oh my God, where is this heading? How am I going to be listed among the greats? Great, I got all NBA. Where are the finals appearances?
Well, I think
it's not, and he has played well, so you can't even say he's choked.
Well, no,
he's been bad.
If he choked, then I'd be more apt. And again, I'm only going by what you're describing to me. I would be more apt to go with Nick, or I would be more open to what Nick is saying. By the way, if he had choked before, but he hasn't choked, he's been the reason why you've been in this.
He's had some of the great playoff performances in the last 6 years.
Like
in the NBA.
If they traded for him, which is weird because of what I think we're going to talk about at 922. If they had traded for him and he became a complete flop, and you just kept throwing money at the problem and throwing trades at the problem, and some teams have, then yeah, I would totally agree. I think I would totally agree with Nick, but he's been a fantastic player for you. We got to document, as fun as Darius is and how many people love Darius, a great player, and we've defended Darius at times. But it seems that Donovan Mitchell has had a problem with his attitude at times, when seriousness, I should say. Not like he's a bad guy, but the seriousness of, hey, this doesn't last forever. You need to do it while you're still going into the peak of your powers. And we had heard that Darius didn't always know that, or didn't always believe that. And so you have Donovan Mitchell, but if you gave up 3 first-round picks and he's still a great player, then I don't understand the problem with giving him the power. They did it for LeBron. LeBron is the greatest player who's played the game. Donovan is a great player for this team. He's also the second best player that's ever played for this team. And I'm willing to say, and I'm sure I'll be a proponent of it in the future, if we get to 2036 and there's some kid who's in elementary school right now playing for the Cavs, and he's one of the best players in the NBA, first team All-NBA, I'll give him the power.
But there's also, Kenny, just de facto power. And what I mean by that is, even if you didn't consult with him, if his agent or someone around him or just Donovan said, oh my God, I don't want James Harden, what, you would ignore him and say, I'm not giving you that power?
Great point.
Like, would Nick ignore that?
Great point.
Why would you? That would just be plotting out his exit strategy.
That is very, very true. I know, because I know
you'd be expediting
Nick's
it.
not a fan of the trade, right?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people aren't a fan because of James Harden.
I get it.
All Donovan probably would have had to do was say, I don't want to play with this guy. He's
and
a
then
goof.
they would not have traded for him.
And they wouldn't have made the trade. Yeah, I think that's a tremendous point. Just because it was LeBron before, LeBron is the greatest player to play the game, but because he's better than Donovan doesn't mean I don't do it with Donovan. I don't have LeBron, at least not yet, probably not until this summer. I don't have LeBron. Or I don't have LeBron in his prime. I have Donovan in his prime. I got to do what I have with what I have. They made the trade. I got to do what I can to extend this as long as I can so they're as successful as they possibly can be. Rich Paul admitted in that podcast, the Game Over podcast, he had said it, that this is at the end. That's why they had to make a move. James Harden is not the most popular player, but it's necessary. And to have a chance to go to the finals, and again, you have Oklahoma City there, you have Houston there, you have Denver there. Like, there are very tough teams that you have to play, but it doesn't mean I don't go for it. I have to maximize everything I can just so I could look back at this 20 years from now if I'm Kobe Altman and Mike Gansey, go, I did everything I could. You can go in, if you got fired after all this, and it always ends, I did everything I could to make this team a winner. And I did it, and you can't even say I was crazy doing it. Donovan wanted it. We did as Donovan said. You're an owner in the NBA with this other team. You would do the same thing. It's common sense in so many ways. You could say maybe you should have kept the way it was, and maybe somebody else would have been open to you. But I don't know how much pressure Kobe Altman was under when he traded for Donovan Mitchell. So
and
this
I would
is the spot
add,
you're in.
I kind of like the fact that there is that pressure. I kind of like it, whether or not it's directly from Donovan or whether or not it's implied. I love that this front office, a bit of a fire has been lit underneath them. Part of that is that team meeting or that organizational meeting where they said we're not going to use excuses anymore. So they're admitting that as a team they had been doing that in the past, and that's sore for term.
I didn't like that.
It's kind of funny though, but it was true, guys.
Sturdy, underhanded.
Guys, it was true. And now Jared Allen's still on the team as of today, and I want to point out again, I was a little surprised he played last night because I thought there was a high likelihood he could get dealt. The fact that he played last night, and maybe we'll come and revisit this, after the trade deadline.
But I don't think there's other realistic trades. I think that you just said it.
Yeah.
You said it a couple hours ago. Giannis is probably going to stay in Milwaukee. I would say 99 out of 100% chance he's going to stay in Milwaukee. Because the best trade that they can make for the future of their franchise is in the summertime. And Giannis has proven time and time again. I know we got to go. Giannis has proven time and time again. He's like foot in, foot out. Yeah, he could. Honestly, he could have taken a lesson from James Harden maybe 2 years ago because it's been kind of going on a little bit long here.
And
now,
he's
I understand we just got James Harden, so maybe I'm thinking about this a little, giving him a little too much.
He's been an MVP.
Exactly.
He's been a champion.
But this has been going on for 2 years, and it's always, well, he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. If you don't know what he is at any given time, then yeah, I'm going to wait until the summertime, and I'm going to make the very best deal possible for my team. So if I can't get Giannis, yeah, I'll definitely keep Jared Allen, and I'll definitely keep Evan Mobley, and we'll see what we can do with this team because I don't think they're done. Maybe for this they're done, but I don't think they're done this summer, and I think we're going to have some big-time superstars to talk about coming up this summer. This is a crazy franchise, and I think they're crazy in a good way. Coming up, I'm going to try to get to some of your guys' thoughts. Is there anybody who doesn't want to have Donovan Mitchell to have the power? Does the history tell you no because of LeBron or anything like that? I don't know if there's anybody who can go against that. And you're not going to agree with me. This trade, not the Mitchell one, this trade I'm about to tell you is worse than Watson. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. Window Nation and WindowNation.com.
Then listen to the Fan Rewind, 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
The Luka Doncic trade was worse than the Deshaun Watson trade. 216-474-0092. Let's do it. Stop laughing. Ken's just trying to make himself feel better. No, it's officially worse. They just traded Anthony Davis yesterday. That it's worse. It's worse. It's worse. You know it's worse. This is not me. It's weird. I got people saying I'm too negative about the Browns, which is, guys, you really don't follow Cleveland sports if you think I'm too negative about the Browns or any Cleveland team for that matter. It's worse. It is worse. Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Were the Mavericks in the NBA Finals the year before they traded Luka, then that's my reason wholeheartedly. I wanted to make sure, and I checked, and I did this on the air with you just so everybody else knows. If the Browns were in the Super Bowl and traded 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. I know they were in the playoffs 2 years before. If they were in the Super Bowl and they traded 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson, it would be worse. You traded away Luka Doncic to the Lakers. You gave them their future while they still had their present and really their past in LeBron. You gave them everything they needed and LeBron what he needed, true. And you brought in Anthony Davis, off-injured player who any person who's even had a passing interest in basketball over the last decade would say, what, street clothes, made of glass, this, that, and the other. And then they jettison him a year later. You have officially said, I don't know if it's officially. We'll find out about how the Browns do here because that's another part to it. But as of right now, these are moving things. As of right now, that's a worse trade than Deshaun Watson.
Well, it's funny. You said they said. Well, that guy's fired already.
Exactly.
Nico Collins is gone. So the guys making the decisions, they took care of that really fast. As far as worse, part of me is annoyed with the whole Watson thing, and I think there's obviously a lot of revisionist history in the lead up to that and how people felt at the time. What the national guys were saying at the time, like a lot of people were actually, when they divorced themselves from the baggage element, which was hard to do, like people are like, wait, you're adding a guy who's been a top 5 quarterback, or at the very worst.
I didn't even mention the baggage element to it. Let me throw that in there.
But then, the suspension came, so that was way more games than a lot of people thought that he was going to get. And then mentally it all fell apart. But it's not like the Browns, they didn't have their first-round draft picks, but they had other draft picks. And there were plenty of talented players chosen around those draft picks. So the Watson trade, people kept saying, well, they've lost the draft capital and they lost those picks. Yeah, but the other picks they had were all the bad picks. They had talented players that they missed out on. Had they have taken some of those talented players, and think about it, they did go to the playoffs, right?
Not with Watson, though.
Right.
But they did.
So it didn't cripple them so much that they couldn't be a good football team. They were a good football team. They made the playoffs. It happened to be with a lot of backups.
Are you agreeing with me?
Well, no, hold on. I'm just getting to it.
Oh, I thought he was going to agree.
And I'm telling you that, you can, the what was it? I was looking through the Rams. They had 1 first-round draft pick actually realized in 9 years. And I know some of those were traded for players and everything. But they only had 1 player actually taken in the first round on their own that played for the team, and they seemed to survive. And had the Browns, their defense wasn't crippled because of the move, and they just missed on so many other guys. So a more competent GM, they could have overcome the Watson deal. The Watson deal in a vacuum did not ruin the Cleveland Browns.
I'm going to disagree with you, Ken, and I'm not going to get all shouty about it, but the one thing that makes it still worse is they were able to move on from Anthony Davis. They saw that it was not good, and they found a different place for him, right? The Cleveland Browns are not able to move on from Deshaun Watson. He will forever live in that building until he is done playing NFL football. He might get one more chance with someone else, but I doubt it. They can't get out from underneath that contract. They can't do it. If they could do it, they would have done it by now.
I'm not going to shout back at you. This is a conversation, so I'm not going to get
I'm
shouted
glad we're
out.
having it.
either.
This is what we call non-shouting time.
Yeah. Welcome to Baskin and Phelps early.
Very civil discourse here.
I would argue that one team still has a chance to draw blood from their stone. One team, they felt that they had to fire everybody, so they had to know it was a better decision. And so they got rid of Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and
the
you
other
think
team
keeping Andrew Berry proves that
no,
it wasn't near as bad.
But as long as I have
ready
him
to get into shouty zone.
No, not true. I'm not going to shout. Well, let the record show I won't be the shouter.
Don't you dare sit there and say, well, they didn't fire Andrew Berry.
No, it wasn't my point. That
Oh.
wasn't my point. Let me get to my point. I'm a long-winded person. Let me get to my point here. Here we go. Can I make my point? Can I make my point?
No, that's Anthony. Anthony's.
Yeah, I know. I was taking a shot. Here we go. Does anybody in this room believe that there's no chance Deshaun Watson will play this year? Anybody?
I've changed my mind on that.
Anybody? So you believe there's a chance he'll play this year?
I think there's a big chance he's going to play this year now.
And you do too.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless he's going to play last year.
Unless they went and got Malik Willis. Then I changed my mind on that.
And this is why it's not official. I struck that word out as soon as I said, I go, no, it's not official.
Let me counterpoint your counterpoint.
Please do.
And if he does play this year, do you think he's going to be good at playing quarterback?
I don't think so. But
there we go. More anchors around the neck of the Cleveland Browns.
True. One team has it. You're calling him Jacob Marley, basically playing for the Cleveland Browns.
Am.
One team.
I do not like him, and I do not like the contract, and I wish he was not on this football team.
And I agree with you.
And at the same time, he might be the best option.
There you go.
And that sucks.
Their own.
And that sucks that they have hamstrung themselves so much that this crappy quarterback who has been injured and has showed you nothing still might be your best option. So that is why it is the worst trade, Ken. No, you can't sit there and agree with me and all that and then go, no, it's not the worst trade. You're wrong. You got backed in the corner. You didn't think about that part.
It's okay, man.
I thought about it. It's okay that you didn't think about how they can't move on from this contract, making it worse.
Let me explain.
I brought it up to you. You saw it, and now you're trying to get out of it. That's why you're not yelling about it.
No.
When you think you're right, you start yelling. Any of our listeners that have been longtime loyal listeners that we love, I love you guys that you listen so loyally, my friends out there. They would absolutely know that when you think you're right, you yell.
When I'm nervous and backed into a corner is when I start yelling. I know I'm right.
There's no way in hell you were right.
Yes, I am. You still have a chance to draw.
If Deshaun Watson walked in this room right now, I would tell him he's the worst trade in the history of professional
It'd be amazing.
sports.
It would be amazing if you did.
And I would do it.
I know you would. I don't deny you would. I don't deny. That would be calling you a coward, and you're not a coward. I'll call you a lot of things. You ain't that.
Ever since I watched Back to the Future 3, never been called yellow.
Let me say this, though. Let me say it. Can I say it? Let me say it. You still have a chance to get something out of this guy. There is no chance to get anything out of Anthony Davis. I know they've traded a whole bunch of guys. You can't get you still have a chance to get it out of that guy because of what you just said. He might be the best option. Hell, at their own incompetence, maybe, possibly at that position could give them a chance. I agree with you. I don't want to see him play. I don't want to deal with the calls because of the other baggage stuff. Let me get to this. You still have a chance because there's still so many people, because your quarterback situation is not good. There's so many people going, well, we don't expect to be anywhere anyway. And let's take a look. Also, let's be serious. Luka Doncic is a guy who still, is he not at the peak of his power still?
Yeah.
And it helps my argument that, and they didn't, remember, we always get this confused now. They didn't trade away Baker Mayfield based on just Deshaun Watson. It wasn't like a dollars for donuts trade there. Not like it was with Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic. But one guy, I think a lot of us are going, yeah, he's better than what we have. He is better. But we still kick around the possibilities that we could get somebody better than him or we could find ourselves in a better situation. I know that this is an uphill battle, and I'm talking to Browns fans who don't care about the Lakers and certainly don't care about the Mavericks, so you're not going to see it that way. I get that. But I still
care about the Wizards.
I still have a chance to get to something that's palatable because he's still on the football team.
No way
and because a lot of us admit that he still could play this year.
He's not going to be palatable, though. You can't use that as the word that, well, maybe. We can't live in maybes. We know the definite right now it's the worst trade in NFL history.
Well, that's why they're still.
So that gets at a seat in the conversation.
If
right?
they still, I'm not saying it's not the worst in the NFL. I'm saying it's not the worst in pro sports.
You can't.
And I'll say it as of right now.
You cannot live on, well, maybe he'll be good eventually.
No, I know that. But that's why I struck out the word officially.
Now
let me finish. No, hold on. Damn it. Let me finish here. This is why I struck out the word officially.
You have more.
He could go out there and suck up the room. He could be even worse. And then, or worst case scenario, he's just good enough to make Andrew Berry think about holding on to him. He's just good enough. This is the scary thing. This is why people just want to get rid of him and not even deal with it. He's just good enough to put you in a position where you can't get Manning or Sellers or one of the other guys. He could just be good enough then. And that's why I won't say officially, because he could still turn into a even more rotten pumpkin, more rotten jack-o'-lantern than he already is. And we can miss out on all those quarterbacks. And then you and me could be sitting here in 3 years and you're going to go, oh, Ken, what was the worst trade of all time? You want to admit to me what the worst trade of all time is? That's why I won't say officially. But I believe as of yesterday, history has not all been written.
So just because
as of
it's
yesterday,
closed
the
out,
leader,
just because the book closed on it,
the book's not closed.
You're just going to call it.
The book's not closed. I told you I'm
talking
not calling
about the Anthony Davis trade. Since the book is closed on the Mavericks portion of that trade,
no, because I got to see what they get back in return.
Now, funny thing is, obviously, because
you've talked yourself,
and they have Cooper Flag
so much right now that I think you've made it worse.
They have Cooper Flag. No, that's not true at all.
Yes.
Well,
I said
that's what's
leader
hilarious about
Flag.
this.
What did the Browns get out of Deshaun Watson?
Well, right now we got Harold Fannin Jr.
They didn't get that out of Deshaun Watson.
No, they didn't, but I'm just still going to try to make that argument.
No, you just proved another point. They at least got Cooper Flag.
So?
They at least got Cooper Flag.
Well,
the Browns got nothing.
Well, wait a minute.
They drafted nothing as a result of Deshaun Watson.
Well, hold on. We could have drafted 6. So we could have drafted worse than 6 overall had he played this year. He didn't play this year. I'm saying this. This is for the future.
This is horrible.
Owen,
you
act like I'm acting like this is the end of history. It's not the end of history. I admitted that. I said it's not official.
Anthony, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say.
It's not getting through to him. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Well, I get it. I will say because of the nature of how the NBA works, where the assets, even though they didn't get a ton for Anthony Davis, but yeah, like the trade lives on. It's like, do you remember when we used to talk about the Julio Jones pick and then the Browns fans that still tried 8 years later to say it was a good draft pick because of all the currency they got down the road? And it's like, yeah, you still didn't get Julio Jones.
A guy who was the best receiver in the NFL.
Right. Like you could play it out and say, all right, but Anthony Davis got traded and
Julio
they still
Jones,
go.
Julio Jones still wouldn't live here.
But I get back to my overarching point, which is
that was a joke. That was a joke.
Imagine like Drake May would have been available in last year's draft and the Browns were sitting there at 2, and let's just say they got somebody like that, or I guess they could have taken Jackson Dart or Tyler Shook in at number 2 or number 6. Like had they have done that, we would have been talking a lot less about the Deshaun Watson deal, because you would say they've been so bad because of the Watson deal, it allowed them to get the quarterback.
Do you think they would
right
have
now
been
we don't
as
have the quarterback.
successful? Do you think they would have been as successful as they have been in their other places if they were here in Cleveland? Or would you have rather had Baker Mayfield going into his 8th season?
Well, that's the big.
I think that's where it's really
the big sliding doors question of all when it comes to Baker Mayfield is he was the worst quarterback in the NFL in Carolina. What would he have been that year in Cleveland, especially after Cleveland already turned their back on him?
And that's part of the reason.
Do we think that would have been a good year?
I think he would have been better in Cleveland just because Carolina has proven that.
He had Christian McCaffrey, by the way.
Place that the other guy that was in that quarterback room is playing in the Super Bowl this weekend.
As a non-QB cult member in 2021, they made stuff up about Luka Doncic. He's a drunk and he's fat and all that stuff. I mean, seriously, out the door they were trying. Well, they basically called him an alcoholic on the way out. Now, I think that's very strong things that you just can't allege at people. Okay, with Baker not being a part of it, because there will always be people going, they made things up about Baker at the end. No, we did not. Didn't make up a damn word on this show. Not a chance. We knew what we knew. When they traded Luka at the peak of his powers, we did not do that with Baker. And again, can I please be as crystal clear as possible? I'm just saying as of right now, if they go out and Deshaun plays and he plays just well enough to cost them a chance at a great quarterback next year, or just poorly enough to not go to the playoffs, and we just continue this thing of what we're doing where they just exist and we basically open up the doors and dust off the seats and some people come in but some people don't, then yeah, that's absolutely the worst trade in pro sports. But I thought yesterday was the point in history where that trade passed up our trade. In the end, as long as Deshaun Watson doesn't play this year or plays considerably poorly, maybe we'll end up winning out in the end. I still don't know. 216-474-0092. Lima sees my point. I can't believe you're kind of with me on this.
I'm looking up lists now to see what are considered the worst trades
for the chart to come out later.
I mean, we're up there. I'm not saying it's the third worst trade, am I? I'm only saying it's the second. 216-474-0092. Am I wrong? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan. Extend to
Yeah, those early morning chicken biscuits are just great, man.
Mornings are a little bit brighter with the Chick-fil-A Chicken Biscuit and Simply Orange Juice. Available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
The home of Westwood One's coverage of the Super Bowl.
Please welcome the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Well, it just kind of depends on which social media you're looking at. Who's winning what the worst trade is.
It doesn't matter because it's brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
And if you missed a moment from this show, you can always use the rewind function on the free Odyssey app powered by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. 9:46 and 18 seconds. Somebody on the YouTube chat said I was embarrassing Stark County with my argument.
Embarrassing?
I know some people who have been far more embarrassing to the great county of Stark County.
And he's done so.
Let's just move on from that one.
That's it.
My phone's about to light up. I'm just turning my phone over.
What
now.
was worse for Stark County, that or when you tomahawk chopped?
That. And I did not tomahawk chop.
Blown out knee on one side.
I had about three things that enter my mind, and I'm like, too close to the end of the show, too close to the end of the week, too close to...
Your earlier comment, I'm
going to step away.
Yeah. Look at... Whoa! If Lima has the safety on, that's when we're really starting to look at the end. I think that yesterday it was proven that for now... The trade with Luka Doncic, if you want to, ended up being a worse one. Do we want to get to that audio, by the way, that you wanted to play?
Look,
do you want me to get to Mark in New York? Maybe he'll call me an idiot. Maybe he'll think I'm right. You want to get to Mark in New York?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Because you're excited about this Hasselbeck stuff that you found. So even though it was on the sheet, Mark in New York, you're next up on the Fan. Hi.
What's going on? It's my first time calling in.
Oh God, we got a first timer.
It's gonna go well, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to be a Browns fan in New York. It really is.
It'd be hard. I think it'd be. Well, yeah, because you can't make fun of Jets fans. So yeah, I guess so.
I can't, and it's hard to make fun of Giants fans too because they got more Super Bowl wins than us so far. So I can't. It's hard, but all I can say is I got Myles Garrett at least. I can say that. But
you're right about that, Mark. Continue.
I was wondering about the Deshaun Watson thing you guys were talking about earlier. What do you think he's going to start? Do you think he's our best option, maybe leading into mini camp and all that right now?
No, I'd rather play Shedeur Sanders from what we have right now. Now I'm fighting a fight on two fronts here, Mark, and it's making me go crazy. And it's been, you obviously have listened maybe for a while, so let me explain it to you here.
Yeah.
Is that I got nut jobs to the left of me and I got nut jobs to the right of me. There are people that want Shedeur Sanders cut immediately, as soon as possible, and I think that they're pretty nuts. And then I got people who believe that we should be doing everything we can to just make him the franchise quarterback, that he should be on every billboard, everybody should be wearing his jersey, and I think that those people are nuts too. So I'll put this here. I am a Shedeur fan because I loved his father. I still do. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I think that as of right now, he is the guy I'd like to see the most. Now, my issue is I don't want them to invest so much that we can't move right on to 2027 if there's a great quarterback there and we're bad enough. But I'm also going to say this. I'm saying a lot of things here, Mark. When it comes to Deshaun Watson, I'm willing to accept if he's the best coming out of camp because if he gets a chance and if he's the most talented guy, I don't know, man. There's a lot of injuries, a lot of history there. You tear an Achilles twice.
Yeah.
It's like, are you really going to be able to move the way you used to move? But if he ends up being better, then I'm willing to accept the reality that he's going to play again for this football team because Todd Monken, I got time. I can wait until 2027. Todd Monken doesn't. He's 60 years old. He knows that things move quickly in Cleveland and they move quickly in the league.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just willing to, and Mark, thank you for the call and listening. And on the free Odyssey app, no less. I'm just willing to accept reality. I think there's a lot of people who don't, but I mean, that's their problem. Does Tim Hasselbeck accept reality?
So what's good old Tim up to these days?
He says Shedeur needs a reality check.
I think there are things he does at the position extremely well that you need to be able to do well to play in the National Football League. I actually think, that's the good side of it. I think the bad side of it for him, I just think physically there are limitations that he has as a player that don't know that anyone is building around that. Could he end up, playing in the league for 10 years, in some role as a backup and then maybe get an opportunity to play? Sure, he could. But I don't think that anybody, listen, there isn't a single team of the 32 that would look at him right now and be like, yep, I want to build around that guy. It's not, I'm not saying that to be demeaning or mean. That is the reality of who he actually is as a player and how he is viewed, quite frankly, consensusly around the league.
Am I supposed to attack Tim Hasselbeck now for that
Attack
opinion?
away? Let's
no,
go.
I'm asking. I didn't think I needed to. I thought he was...
You attacked... Wait a second. Jimmy Fallon today... You went after his whole career, and now Tim Hasselbeck gets away
Fallon
with this.
Is presented to me as a comedian. It's hard to be presented to me as a comedian when you're not funny. What's the best thing people know him for? Breaking up as an actor, breaking character on Saturday Night Live.
So you think Tim Hasselbeck
Will Ferrell did that like twice in his entire career on Saturday Night Live.
Is he being a football guy here?
Stop. Yeah, Tim Hasselbeck's just being a football guy. I think what Tim Hasselbeck is telling you is that still the uphill battle that Shedeur Sanders has to fight to be a legitimate franchise quarterback in this league. I think that he's telling you, Tim Hasselbeck played in the NFL. He talks to a lot of NFLers. I think he's telling you the truth of what a lot of organizations still see him as. He's got a lot of work to do, but I don't think that Shedeur denies the work that he needs to do. Do you?
No, I think there's obviously work that by the way,
but I asked
good
you,
quarterbacks,
do you think
good
he denies
rookies,
the
bad?
amount? I asked you, do you think he denies the amount of work he needs to do? Does that escape him the reality of what he still needs to do?
No, I hope not. Obviously,
okay, because there's a difference between thinking it and doing it.
Last year, when he was talked to or whatever, people in the locker room talk to him after a game or something, and he's like, yeah, I think there are quarterbacks right now I'm better than. And then he didn't really prove that, unfortunately. Statistically, he was the worst quarterback last year, so he wasn't able to do that. Now, with some seasoning here in the offseason, some development, new head coach, maybe new set of eyes and all that, new staff in that offensive room, hopefully he can do that, put in the work and do just that. And I have no doubt, I've never questioned the amount of work that he's willing to put in. Anybody that questioned that, that just seems silly. You can't find anybody that doesn't say he's a hard worker.
I think at this time in 10 months, there could be somebody on the hot seat. And I'm going to tell you who. Coming up at 10:15 Eastern on 92.3 The Fan Extra on the free Odyssey app. It's the emerging podcast scene. I hope you're ready for that one there, Tone.
Sounds good.
Thanks to Mary Kay, who joined us today. Certainly gave us a lot to think about, talk about, argue about. She was wonderful. We are back tomorrow morning, 6 to 10. We'll have Daryl. Hopefully he'll be coming in hot and ready to go. Because it was shown to me your comments on the chat Monday when I was reacting to his answers.
Oh, baby.
So I will be more cognizant of my facial expressions coming up tomorrow on The Fan. Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh, boy.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
Sponsored by Robinhood. Your money, your move. As of this morning, Giannis Antetokounmpo remains